Hello and welcome to Dice of the Beholder present Chronicles of Nidum, session 25. We did do something special for session 25. We postponed it by a day, accidentally, because, 4 kids, bank holiday weekend, very difficult. So yes, the special thing we did was postpone it, so we could all get some much needed rest. I'm sorry if I blink a lot in today's session, by the way. It's the first time I've been in chlorinated water for a good couple of years because I went to a pool today and my eyes have been stinging and burning like hell. But anyway, okay, so yes, session 25. Welcome. Those who are watching, have watched, will watch. And it is time to meet the guys who I believe are all ready. Hi.
Hello.
Yes, so, before we actually proceed then, I won't announce this yet. I'm going to have a word, sorry.
Yes.
No.
So, we're very professional.
Is that your impression of Boris?
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to start. We're not going to start. Sorry.
We're all going to stay at home. We're not going to stay.
We're going to roll some dice. We're not going to roll some dice.
We're going to live stream on Twitch. We're not going to live stream on Twitch, but we are going to stream on Twitch, but not streaming on Twitch.
Stay alert.
You can stay alert, but you're not allowed to bite the feet. Sorry.
Nice to Durham.
I get inspiration.
That would make me laugh.
I get inspiration. Okay, so,
No, you don't.
we have news coming, which I don't want to disclose yet, because I want to have a conversation with the main person that the news is about, so kind of pointless mentioning it, really. Anyway, so...
But there's stuff happening on the horizon.
Yes,
And that's all
there
we're
is
telling you.
there is something big happening on the horizon, and all will be revealed soon once details are mashed out. So, without further ado, I will remind everyone, especially our players, what happened last time. Oh God, what happened at the beginning?
He doesn't remember.
A lot of it.
Someone remind the DM what happened last time so he can remind the players.
I remember now, yes. So, you had been previously tasked and employed by some elves to help or guard a transport of dead human bodies from the local slums who had died from a recent bout of plague. You escorted them out into the forest, met a lot of elven guards, and the handover was completed. After meeting the guard, as your small Durgar and large half-orc forms, you were introduced to the leader of the guards, who was amicable, was nice to you, ignored your human fellows, and then, after the deal was
Ignored
done...
them, my ass. He tried to buy them.
Yes, sorry, you tried to buy one of them.
True. Yeah.
And after the transaction was complete, not the buying of the human slave, you convinced them that it was a bad idea, but after the transaction was complete...
I was so tempted to sell those.
You made your way back to the town with the elven administrators, who tried to get out of paying you the full amount, but not very well remembered, but I'll give it to you. You managed to get the full payment out of them. Back in the town, or back in the city, the atmosphere was increasingly tense. It was a terrifying time for humans, as they were being randomly dragged from shops, beaten and arrested for seemingly no reason. And as you progressed through the city, back to Mother's, you had no inkling as to why. Until you got to Mother's, and in the middle of the day you found it full, realising that all of the humans, the small children that they looked after, had been recalled home, as it was a dangerous time for any human to be in the city. You eventually went to see Father. It was confirmed by him that 2 human children out in the sticks had been the only survivors of a magical explosion at their farm. killing their parents, and an elven lord and his son who had decided to visit the farm on a hunt. The magic was said to have come from at least one of the children, and they were being brought to town for execution as illegal human magic users. Clint, your dear friend from the guild, was beside himself, but had almost resigned himself to either doing nothing or a completely suicidal attempt at saving these girls' lives. That is until Ace decided to step in and offer their help. Having offered their help, and convincing Dice to do so as well, Sepsis, who surprised everybody, also lent their support to the plan. And completely all of us, completely forgetting what Oriana had already said before her player had to go offline, was outvoted and had to go along anyway. You found the two girls ready to be hung in the market square, but fortunately causing a massive distraction with the animals from the menagerie you'd visited only days before. You managed to save the girls, and grabbing them in your arms, grabbing them in their arms, rushed off into the town to try and get away. Unfortunately, you were cut off at almost every avenue.
Too.
What?
I carried a child too.
Eventually.
Yeah, I mean, we were cut off at every avenue by a deceitful DM is what happened.
You were cut off at every avenue by
I was wondering how long it
the
would take for that
by
to be
by the geography of the city. Strange and twisting, strange and twisting, as the alleys are, and also large contingents of elven guards being at seemingly every escape. Through some very useful spells from both Ariana and Sepsis, and an incredible amount of damage soaked by Ace and dealt by Dice, you
Tank.
eventually managed to break out into one of the streets. Unfortunately, it did seem that at both ends of this large open road there were even more guards coming, until a cloaked and hooded man appeared as if from nowhere and offered his hand, drew a magic circle on the floor, and told you to go with him if you wanted to survive. You did so, most of you without question. And the last thing you remember is a blinding flash of white light, and then silence. So, first things first, I would like everyone to roll 3 Constitution saving throws.
Oh yeah.
3.
3. Make a note of the number and then give them to me in order, please.
Oh, I rolled all 3 together. Do you want them rolled separately?
Yeah, if you could.
Too late, I've already rolled all 3.
Yeah, I just rolled 3d8.
Alright, pick an order.
Yeah, you can have the dice from left to right is what you'll get.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's not.
Okay.
I'll write these down so I remember.
That came out really weird, but I'm alright with it.
Okay,
Do you want us to say them out loud?
bear with me. So, first number, Oriana.
Oh, hang on, I'm going to do math. 16.
Cool. Dice.
19.
Ace.
Are you looking for my highest one, yeah?
No, the first number. Just pick
Okay,
one.
14.
14.
Sorry, the mic was cutting out a bit.
That's okay. And Sepsis.
14.
14. Okay. Dice and Oriana. No, sorry. You're fine. Sepsis and Ace take 1 level of exhaustion.
Ooh,
What's the save?
I'm already so very tired.
Next number.
15.
Dice.
19.
Ace.
20.
Sepsis.
8.
Oh man.
Sepsis. Take 1 level of exhaustion.
Oh, I'm fine.
Do you want to know what's funny? I have a +6 to con saves.
Really?
Oh.
You have better constitution than me.
What did you roll, man?
I'm proficient in con saves.
And the third number.
18.
Dice.
23.
Ace.
19. I had to do math in my head, and it was only
So-
1 less than last time.
Sepsis.
22.
Ah, okay. You're all fine.
I'm glad this isn't a drinking game, because all of you would have just drunk Oriana under the table.
Oh.
And that's a good thing.
Speak for yourself.
How do I do it on
Dice is
here?
really good on
Under
saves.
1 level of exhaustion.
Hmm?
It's under active conditions, so if you go into... Is it under conditions? Am I being...
It's under
Yeah,
conditions.
it's under
yeah,
conditions.
At the bottom of
Mm.
conditions.
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
a
yeah, I
exhaustion
got it.
track.
It also tells you what it does then as well.
Yeah. I love the, the little, like, OTL, like, ugh,
Mm-hmm.
sign for it.
The further along it goes, the little person just like laying down. He's like,
Yeah.
Okay, so
Like
You
you
hit
are
6
drinking
levels, you
session.
just die.
as you're
Like Rich after a drinking session.
I feel like I'm permanently at 5.
No, die, not cry.
as,
Oh.
Can you have inspiration for that one? Because that was great.
no,
Already got it, you can't.
I can take it off.
No.
Right, okay, so as the blinding white light starts to recede from your vision, and it is circled by darkness that then turns into the blur of half-seen detail, you finally, after a few minutes of what seems like consciousness, seems like you've been unconscious for a while. It feels that way anyway. You eventually come to a point and realize you are in a quite spartanly decorated but comfortable room. There are 6 beds. Each one has a chest at the foot of each bed. It has a bedside table, has a lit candle next to it. There is a large table with a few chairs around it in the middle of the room, circular. You can see a glass decanter of water and a few cups. All of your belongings seem to have been put on top of or in the chests at the foot of each bed, and you wake up in 4 beds.
Right.
Yeah.
Point of order, were we within 10 feet of Ace when we made those saves?
Yeah. Why?
Because Ace has an aura of protection that grants a +2 bonus to saving throws to allies within 10 feet of them.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if a 16 would have saved where my 14 didn't.
Didn't you roll an 8 at one point?
I did roll an 8. I still would have taken 1 level of exhaustion, but I'm thinking I would have taken 1 instead of 2.
Yeah, you only took 1 instead of 2. I'll give you that.
Oh,
Okay, if 16, does that, do I get +2 as well? Because if 16 passes, I didn't get any exhaustion.
Yeah, it's all friendly creatures, including you.
Okay, cool. I didn't take any then.
Cool.
Nice.
When you say we've just woken up,
It feels like you've just woken up.
okay, so we weren't necessarily
We didn't actually
like
long
got a long rest
So-
or anything in.
Do some of us feel rested?
No.
Okay.
Worth trying.
So my hit points are still.
So I'm going to roll over and pull the blanket back over me.
Curled up in one of the beds closest to the door, under the blankets, but curled up and holding each other, are 2 small female forms. One with platinum blonde hair, the other with reddish blonde hair.
Fucking Elsa and Anna, isn't it?
Yeah.
So disappointed in you.
I'd be disappointed in you too, but I tolerate you because I love you.
I go over and sort of gently shake one of their shoulders. Go, are you two okay?
They are dead to the world. They are snoring contentedly, just hugging
Cool.
each other.
Honestly, thought you were just going to say they're dead. I was really confused for a second there.
Yeah, they're just dead.
Yeah, they failed all their
It's
concepts.
like,
Um,
it's because we brought up the Frozen reference, isn't it? Just killed them all.
Sorry.
Hey, I haven't seen the second one yet.
We need a revise.
I have. I went to go see it in a fancy cinema. At the finest.
there
I
is.
start getting my stuff out of my chest and putting it back on, and
There are no windows, by the way, in this room, but there is one door at the end.
I'm going to
Did you
go.
say we're all in the same room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wooden beams,
Not
wooden
high
beams above you. The ceiling is quite high above that. It is plasterboard walls between large or thick oak supports. The furniture seems to have been made with loving care and attention.
Can I go and try the door?
Yeah, the door is not locked.
I
Ace is
take my head
gonna follow them.
Okay.
you
You
guys
pop,
get your equipment first.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Logically, I would do that.
okay.
Thanks.
So, as you open the door, then you can hear the clatter of pots and pans, a grumbled kind of shout, kind of an old voice from down the way, because you are staring out into a hallway lined by many doors. There's about 4 doors on each side. Space between them would show the rooms are around about the size of this. You seem to be at the end of a corridor. You can see a light at the other end of the corridor that seems to be flickering, possibly candlelight or maybe one light source and someone's moving in front of it constantly.
Good
When
teacher.
you say that we didn't have our equipment on us,
80s.
does that mean that Sepsis didn't have their cloak on?
No, Sepsis, while the rest of you were in the barest of clothing, nothing was really taken off Oriana, but the rest of you obviously were...
Yeah, I was going to say, there's not much to take off, Aria.
the rest of you were disarmoured, had your robes and cloaks taken off you, apart from Sepsis, who found themselves fully cloaked up in bed.
Nice.
It's nice that these people know sepsis.
I don't think you can take Sepsis' cloak off.
It's
Like,
actually
it
well.
fights back.
In fact, he's been lying to you all this time out of character, and he's
Hey.
not. They've been lying to you. No, I mean Greg. And Sepsis isn't actually a race. He's a cloak. We homebrewed a new race for him. He's just a cloak.
I had yellow skin.
It's an illusion. It's a cloak that can cast minor illusion to make it look like he's got hands.
Cat Sky Self.
I want to make this character. It sounds fun.
It does. That's it. I just homebrewed a new monster. Brilliant. Okay, cool. So, what do? You're looking out down the corridor?
Go out of the room and see if I can find some people.
Okay.
Look,
Ace is going to hang back a little bit because they're very unwell at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Sepsis is probably going to hang back near Ace.
Come on, Dice, it's me and you.
Let's go see if we can find
Sorry,
some people
folks.
in this place.
Okay.
Also,
Yeah.
where the hell are we?
Let's
Okay.
go find out.
There is no natural light coming in from any source. As you see, there are no windows, no skylights. The ceiling of this corridor, while still supported with oak beams, actually seems to be earth.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're underground. Oh.
They messaged in the chat, they're having issues with the laptop, they'll be back in a minute.
So as you progress down the corridor, the clattering and the movement, footsteps get slightly louder, and you hear a grumble. Sounds like someone says thanks. And as you get to the corridor, you can see a tall figure standing at a chair, at the back of standing next to a very high-backed leather and wooden chair, and seems to be handing something to someone sitting on the chair. The chair is turned away from you, is facing the large fireplace roaring on one side of the room, And from seemingly, it's a large room, but it seems to be a kitchen.
Hello.
No?
The tall figure,
Yeah.
until now silhouetted against the firelight, turns to you and kind of steps away from the chair. And you see it is, as previously met, all those, I can't say many, many moons ago, you've only been travelling for like a month.
About a month ago.
All those sessions ago, is Marcus.
You.
He is, from what you can see, there are a lot more lines on his face. There is a lot more grey in his beard than there was in the previous meeting, and a lot more grey in his hair. He looks like he's aged years in the month since you last saw him.
Is there like a cup near me? Or some sort of small...
You are in a kitchen. There are a lot of cups and utensils
Cool.
near you.
I grab the nearest clay cup and launch it at him.
Roll an attack. Ranged attack, improvised weapons, you don't get to add your proficiency, so it's just d20 plus your dex.
Let's find my dex. That can't be right. Is that across the top?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's plus 0. That is an 18.
18, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit Marcus. He throws up his hand to catch it, but it just sails through his thumb and first finger and cracks him on the face, and he catches it on the rebound. I may have deserved that.
I go to grab another one and launch it, but I purposely launch it at the wall next to him instead.
Okay. This one, he just doesn't even grab for, and it just smashes against the wall, and he
Yeah.
doesn't flinch.
And then go and get myself a drink instead. Start making myself a drink.
Would
You-
Ace hear that?
You do hear a grumbled voice from in the direction of the chair that's in front of the fireplace. Go, try to eat, peace.
Can I go?
Yeah, are Ace and I hearing the
Smashing
Yeah,
a
did you
plate.
hear the smashing?
You heard the smashing of cups. Yeah.
Okay, Ace is going to drag themselves to the kitchen.
Okay.
Oh, tiny bits.
That sounds like exactly the type of place we don't want to be.
I can't, in good conscience, not go see what that was.
Okay, well, I'm going to stay right here and protect these children.
That's a good idea, Sepsis.
Please don't
And
hurt.
Ace leaves in good conscience.
I get into bed.
Yeah, I just start busying myself with making a pot of coffee or something, just to, just turning my back to Marcus, like, oh my god, look at mad with you.
So,
Ace is
I
just going to
think,
tentatively pop their head around the corner while like holding onto the frame. It's like,
Okay.
everything okay?
Yeah, go back to bed.
everything's fine. Don't worry.
Ace
There
is just going
is
to plop themselves on a chair.
Marcus kind of gestures to the table in front of you, and it's a long, solid oak table with benches next to it that have been drawn out. It looks like it's set ready to receive people sitting at it so that they can have a drink or eat.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
And you can see on the where Marcus is walking towards now, as he kind of takes a few steps into the kitchen area, you can see there is a large platter of food that he's already prepared, possibly in readiness for your waking.
Can I see the food and go, hey, I forgive you everything. Can I have some of that? It looks delicious.
I have prepared a supper for you all. If you would join me, it's the least I think I can do in these
It's supper!
circumstances.
And now I start looking for wine.
You can now see on the opposite side of the kitchen, from where you entered, there is a large door. On either side of it are two small windows, and you can see a pale white light shining through, but it does very little to illuminate the room.
Can I go and have a look out the window
You can.
before I sit down?
Oriana, you look at your watch. It's about 10 o'clock at night. Unfortunately, you don't have dates on their watch. It's just the time.
Hang on, mine actually tells me my foot count. It tells me my heart rate.
But you look out the window. Okay. Dice. Roll me a perception check.
Aw, but every time I do that, it's really not very good. Okay, yeah, see, it's 5.
Okay.
Sorry, I lied. 6.
Okay. So, out the window, you can see a small flower and vegetable garden. There is a winding stone path. It's maybe about 30 feet long. That cuts through the middle of the garden to a wrought iron gate in a dry stone wall that disappears off into the distance on either side of the window. Just beyond the dry stone wall, you see smoke or mist or vapours, and it changes from grey to purple to very dark green. You look up, you can see no moon, especially looking at the angle of the light and at how it touches the floor inside. There's no moon.
I'm going to turn to Max and go, 2 things.
Yes?
No, 1. Now, where the hell are we? Thank you for the rescue.
You are fortunate enough to be in my autumn home.
Oh, we have more than one.
Well, this was the one that was closest when we travelled.
Okay, that narrows it down somewhat. And where is it?
It isn't.
It isn't.
Maybe
I'm actually willing to accept that as an answer.
We should probably talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree on that.
Yeah.
And flop down in a chair. Like, alright then.
I'm just munching away at whatever's on the table.
Is your small, distrustful friend joining us, or...?
Resting.
They're looking after the children.
That's not a terrifying thought at all.
Hey, sepsis is good with children. They volunteered.
Yeah, Ace looks
enthusiastically.
visibly confused.
Dice, if you could send your dog possibly to see if they're willing to come down.
Well, I would, but my dog is still with Mother, presumably, because it didn't come with us.
Oh, sorry.
I'll go and get sepsis.
Give me
Get up and walk out the room.
Give me a moment. And he walks over and moves like a bookcase. And as he moves the bookcase, you see that it's on a swinging door, and out of the door comes bounding Cedric, right up to Dice, and starts with a very cold metal tongue licking you.
He's a good boy. Okay, Cedric, can you go and get sepsis?
I'll go get sepsis.
No, really, this is funnier to me. Please let Cedric go and get sepsis.
No.
Please.
No.
I can fix anything that happens, but I
It's
know
only going to cause more problems.
Yes.
I don't want to deal with
I
more
send
problems. I go chasing
Cedric
after Cedric.
Sepsis, you see Cedric and Oriana running towards the door.
I just want to say, I have actually been doing something. I've been trying to communicate with.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. While all this was going on, then Sepsis, what were you doing?
I was trying to communicate with Worm to see if I'm still on the same plane of existence that they're on.
So you try and summon Worm?
No, not summon. Worm's on a mission.
Okay.
I just try to call Worm.
Cool. You cannot speak to him.
Right. I understand. So when you say I see them coming towards the door, why would I'm not at the door.
Okay. You see Oriana and Cedric burst into the room then.
What, at the same time?
Yeah. Cedric rushes up to you.
Quickly followed by me, yeah.
Well, if Cedric came in prior to Oriana, I'd probably fire an Eldritch Blast at him.
Okay.
But if they get there at the same time, I obviously wouldn't do that.
They get there at the same time.
There we go, then I don't shoot Millie's dog.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway.
Alright,
Seps-
what is this devil creature doing here?
Well, I was trying to come instead of the dog, but Dice thought it was funnier to send the dog. Marcus is in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that we're not on the plane of existence we were on this morning?
Yeah, I've looked out of a window.
I look out of the window.
There are no windows in
There's
that room.
one in the bedroom.
Okay.
There's one in the kitchen. But he's apparently got answers for us. Apparently this is his autumn home.
What do you see out of the window?
Sort of mist that changes colour. I don't know. I've accidentally travelled to so many different planes because I sneezed. Just
I'm not there, but that's funny.
Well, it's fairly new to me, and I don't like it very much.
Well, ask Marcus questions in the kitchen. Just come to the kitchen, please.
Fine.
Thank you.
Are we going to leave the dog in charge of these children? Maybe he'll eat them, and
Yes.
our whole job will have been a waste.
Yes. I think it would be a good idea for Cedric to look after the girls.
He won't. He'll come back. Because he was sent to do a job when he's done the job, so he'll come back. He wasn't given more advanced instructions than that.
She comes back.
I come back into the kitchen as well, going, don't you think it'd be a good idea for Cedric to keep an eye on those girls?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would guard the children. I send him back out again. Dog goes.
Because he'll come back to you if they need anything.
Yeah. Or he'll bark. Bark very loudly if you need help.
And then sepsis will be okay in the kitchen.
They're not that bad. They've travelled together for months.
I know, I just don't want to deal with the complaining.
I can't believe we went to all the effort of rescuing those girls just so that you could let your demon eat them.
I pat Sepsis on the shoulder as I walk past.
I crumple to the ground in pain.
Drama.
I'm
thing.
very
I'm
glad.
very small and very exhausted.
Yeah.
A gentle pat. It was a pat, not a pat.
I have very low strength, and I'm very small, and I'm exhausted. And it doesn't take much.
I am very glad to see you have all become much more comfortable together in your time on the road.
We've had no choice.
True. A lot of your choices were taken from you before you knew you had them.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Not necessarily by me, but
Actually, by the elves, I would say, more than anything else.
He is an elf.
No, he's not. I mean, I don't. Is Marcus an elf?
I am not an elf.
I was going to say, technically, I don't think Marcus is an elf.
I am not an elf.
He's not human
Someone
either.
said you were an elf.
Not in the traditional manner, anyway.
Not
You
average.
work for elves.
I do not work for the elves.
With. I said with.
You seem to have aged, Marcus.
Oh, that is it's an effect of the spell used to bring you here. It's quite physically taxing.
Will you go back to how you were before?
Possibly, or I may have finally used these years and I'll look like this for a while.
Interesting. You're a unique thing.
There are many unique things in this world that you haven't seen or heard of yet. I am but one of them.
So why were you there? Why did you come at the right time to rescue the children and us? For which I am grateful, for all that we're throwing cups apparently and being very grumpy with you.
To begin with total honesty then, I wasn't there to rescue you.
No, of course you were.
I was there as a favour. I was contacted by a mutual acquaintance and I came to rescue the girls.
Yep.
You were planning to rescue the girls anyway.
It's not outside my wheelhouse. It's
No, but how close were you to being able to do it? Because at the time we rescued them, the stools had been kicked, they were dropping.
Come on, Dice, you don't think he actually thinks things through completely?
You acted a mere moment before I.
Yeah.
So
did
Ace
not.
took a
I
lot
did
of
not.
hits for that reason, huh?
There weren't very many moments left.
Very few. Plus, elephants.
A moment later, and the neck could have snapped.
Well, Ace,
Yes.
and you did roll a perception check for this, and it was a fail. Those children, you were hampered slightly by running with two of them, yes, but you could still move quite easily.
Yeah, fairly easily. I wouldn't say that I'd be able to at the moment.
No, but they were quite heavy individuals. They're not young. Even
They're
with
not-
your strength, wearing your armour, you shouldn't be able to move as fast as you could with two of them, unless perchance they'd already had levitate cast on them by someone.
Actually, we sat down and worked out the encumbrance stuff at the time, and it turns out that yes, they could have done.
Yeah, Ace absolutely could have done, but thank you for the spell. I'm just saying, we had it under control, and it seems perhaps that... You know what, it's fine. So that's why you rescued us at the end, where the guards were coming down on us.
No,
Or Dice a glass of wine.
If they had levitate cast on them, why was Dice running so bloody slow?
We're gonna get white girl drunk.
White girl wasted.
Just bitch at Marcus the entire night.
Okay,
Sounds fun.
Oh yeah, because we couldn't have done it without you, could we?
you were doing.
Hang on, actually, I'm calling bullshit.
You
If
were
they had-
doing
if-
quite well
If they were levitating, why was Dice running at half their usual speed?
because I dropped the spell so I could begin to concentrate on something else.
But they carried them for some time.
No, Ace carried them for some time.
Yes.
No,
After you would drop the spell.
Yes.
So
I
we didn't
took...
really need the spell in the first place.
Also, I took the smallest child off Ace very quickly after they were off the podium to make sure that Ace could move at a relatively normal speed, because Ace's speed had dropped to... It would have been half their half. It was really slow, so I...
And they
Come
were.
on now,
It
Dice,
was.
we can bring up his parade.
It was.
Let the man think he has his own credit.
I deserve no credit
This is
whatsoever.
some tuxedo ass shit.
I deserve no credit whatsoever. Your rescue was.
You get nothing!
I'm not asking for any.
You're not getting any.
To be fair, I again, I'm ambivalent about this. I'm more curious as to how you knew they were in danger, why you decided to teleport us here.
You knew you were in danger. Why did you
Where
wait until
is
they're executed?
here?
Because I only knew they were in danger mere moments before I arrived there.
Maybe you should get better sources.
Your source took a few hours to get hold of me, I believe, just after they spoke to you.
To be fair, that maybe if they were using the same, or if they were using the same cleric that they use for other things, if the source is who I think it is, I would imagine it would take some time to communicate. The cleric is not quick. He's very small and old.
So old.
So old.
He's precious, and we won't say anything bad about him.
And there's nothing bad to say, but they're not the quickest. That's all I'm saying.
You
In
might
all
be
my
my favourite
14
cleric.
years.
I love her.
I love her so much.
Okay. He busies himself for a moment, then preparing food and platters and puts them out in front of you. As he's doing so, you hear a grumble from just off to your right, and it's from the chair, and you hear, bloody ungrateful youngsters.
I go and look at the chair.
Yeah, I go over it. I like white glass of wine in the hand, leaning on the chair, going, "You are."
Okay. In the chair, sipping slowly from a very large bowl of piping hot stew, a large wooden bowl, is a tiny, wizened old man. His skin is literally hanging from his bones. He looks ancient. There is a horrific scar, long healed, down one side of his face. He's missing one eye. He's bundled up in rags and cloaks, and he is holding in his hand a very thin very dry old piece of wood that looks like it could be or should have been a staff at one point, but it's been whittled down by time to nothing more than a thin stick that could snap if he tried to support his own weight on it.
Looks like a pointer.
He's got a hat next to him.
What's up with that?
It looks like at one point it was pointed and a thick kind of travelling hat material, but now it's just threadbare and patched, and the point is flopped to one side.
It's a human, yeah.
For all intents and
Okay.
purposes, he looks human.
I go, hello, sorry. We're not ungrateful, we're just
Mad.
grumpy.
Exhausted.
Mostly
And
at
angry.
him, and I point at Marcus.
He is not the source of your ire, dear girl.
No, he is. He's definitely part of it.
No. He did not lie to you for your entire life, or keep truths from you that would have better suited you to your journey of late.
No, but he is the one that told me I had to leave.
Through your own actions. So truly it is yourselves you are angry with, is it not?
No, because my actions are what I was taught to do.
And I believe...
Yes, by the person who lied to you.
No,
On his instruction.
She didn't have to listen.
we would not have made the mistake we did had we known more about everything outside of Nidum. Children aren't stupid, they don't need to be treated as such.
But you are a woman of science. You make mistakes to learn. Surely
Yeah,
this
okay.
entire journey has been an informative one for you.
Thus far, yes. It
Well,
has taught
good.
us-
You should not be angry then.
What's
Next,
your name? What's your name?
I have many names.
Which one would you like us to use?
Old fart. Oriana just walks away.
Oriana.
Old fart. Old fart. Old fart. Once upon a time, yes. I think.
What would you prefer?
Marcus! And he kind of cocks his head to one side. What day is it today?
Oh, sorry.
All of the days, apart from one, none of them are mine. They've all gone. And Marcus goes, tomorrow.
What
Tomorrow,
day is it?
old man.
Tomorrow.
What day is it tomorrow?
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday tomorrow.
Ah,
Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Tomorrow is a good day.
Mhm.
is that your day?
Marcus,
Oh, every time we meet, it's
He's
always
asleep.
an adventure.
Marcus,
Yes.
what's west of Avalon?
That is a difficult question.
It's one I'd really like to know the answer.
You're having an easier time answering it.
Mm.
To be fair,
So,
Uh,
how many,
say that.
can I ask, because it took me a while as well, and I had a bit of fun with it in my youth. How many times have you shouted that question into a crowded room?
you.
Actually, I haven't shouted it into a crowded room once.
No, but in
you-
I
several.
tend to use it as a way to make people shut up.
Try it. Next time you're at market, try it and see what happens.
I try to do as little as possible to draw attention to myself in public these days.
Oh, they won't remember.
We know what happens.
It only takes one person to remember.
But why? Why does this happen? Why does it matter? Why can't people tell us what is west of Avalon? What is west of Avalon? What's out there?
Okay, sit down, please, all of you. And he hangs his head in his hands.
Face is already seated, still tucking into dinner
Okay.
/ breakfast.
So this is also already seated, not eating anything at all.
Where
As
would
per
you
usual.
Where would you like to start?
The beginning.
The very best
That was a
place.
good place.
Your beginning? Mine? The world?
I think we'd like to start by knowing the things that everyone else seems to know about the world, and we were not made privy to.
Some of it we've learned in this time, though.
Okay. You will hear a lot of legends about why humanity is viewed the way they are. And I have spent quite a few years researching most of them, trying to find out the truth from the story. And what I've come to is this. Many years ago, 2 millennia at least, there was a great king. That great king had a weapon of great power, given to him by fae and godlike creatures, to seemingly lead humanity to a glorious kingdom on this world. Unfortunately, that king was betrayed. And in that betrayal, at the time of his death, betrayed humanity by betraying the fae and the godlike creatures who had given him that weapon. For there was a curse. The curse said if that weapon was ever to be given up, abandoned, or betrayed, if he did not stay true to it, his line and his kin would be sundered, and their future would be irrevocably altered until such a time as heroes would rise to right his wrong. It was at that time of the betrayal that the sundering occurred. 2/3, at least, of all humans in every kingdom I visited, and I've visited most, disappeared 2,000 years ago. They were just gone. They did not disappear and leave clothes behind. It was almost as if they had not existed in the first place, but their beds were empty, their houses had half-eaten food left in them. They disappeared in the middle of a meal. They were just gone.
You ever heard of anyone called Thanos? No, sorry, carry on.
It was at this time
It's like a purple oak.
that elves worried about the progression of humanity towards technology, to industry, and away from magic, came out of the woods and decided to guide them. And this is where it begins to get murky. The elves,
I think we're going to have to start muting if we're going to type.
the elves seemed to... It seemed that the longer they spent out of their woodland kingdoms guiding the humans who were left, the less connected to nature they became. The more time they spent in cities, and I don't just mean individuals, I mean entire elven kingdoms, left the comfort of their woodland kingdoms to live in the city. They became less connected with nature. They started to age almost as rapidly as
sleep.
humans do. You've witnessed it as well. They
The
have to
magic they
sleep.
use as well isn't right.
No.
Certain of nature magic.
The connection to nature, at some point, I can't exactly explain when, over the last 1,000 years, became sundered from nature. They could no longer call on the energy of the earth.
I don't blame nature.
Gaia.
Nothing natural would want anything to do with the way they treat the world.
No.
As a
And
Sorry, but are there any elves who didn't choose that?
Is that what's west of Avalon?
I will answer Dice's question first. There are a few elves who didn't. Most elves have the choice taken from them. As when you come of age, or you would have come of age, you would have told you the truths in Nidum. When an elven child comes of age, in their teenage years, they are put through a process. We do not know what it is called, we do not know what the process is. After the process is completed, they seem to stop aging, or the aging at least slows down. Their magic returns, though it is nothing we have seen before in the thousands of years past. It is strange, warped. There is necromancy about them. There is strange eldritch energy. The crystals are another matter entirely.
Can I roll an Arcana check against? We saw elves last. Come from the elves, didn't we? Can I roll an Arcana check to see what kind of magic that is and where it would normally come from? See if I can work it out.
You can, with advantage. Because you've seen someone quite close to you do it as well.
Yeah, I know, and I have an inkling of what they do based against what Ori's told me previously. 17?
17. You've read studies in your youth of Eldritch Blast. It is predominantly a gifted ability. People who have made pacts with eldritch creatures or demons or strange powers that are as yet unnamed. However, it is an ability that you yourself could learn with sufficient study. For that amount of elves to have learnt it, it's very highly likely that it's nothing to do with study and it is a gifted ability.
So the question would then be, would I believe that they have made a deal with something to access that energy?
Like a warlock?
That would be a very good assumption based on what you know.
So what? We are saying that the elves have made a pact with, what, an incredibly powerful... But there aren't any demons anyway that are able to
It
access...
doesn't have to be a demon.
But there's no incredibly powerful entities that can access this plane of existence because, as far as we're aware, everything's been sundered by
As
God
far as we're aware, except we are aware that Ace's god is on this plane.
Well,
yeah, we know that.
What's
well,
to say any other god or demon or any patron could have come through?
Not this
And nothing
plane!
could make- And anyone... Can you imagine a patron have an entire race swaying themselves to them?
it raises questions, certainly.
You do hear the voice from the chair, just in case my mic cut out, when you say, when you said Ace's god is on this plane, you hear a voice next to you in the chair going, not this plane!
Alright, not this plane, but our plane.
You were on that our plane previously.
Long time ago.
About a month ago.
Well, that's a month.
4 weeks.
It's about four
Wednesdays.
Four Wednesdays.
times over your days, yeah.
Ah. That's a
Can I-
long time for someone who can't remember what they did this morning.
Can I quietly say to Marcus, why Wednesdays?
Odin.
I believe your friend here has already worked that out.
They usually
Yeah.
do.
Wedding. Odin.
Wait, didn't we meet Odin?
Yes. They have many forms.
Is this the same dude?
Gods.
Alright, so what? We're saying there's an incredibly powerful entity of some kind that's applying magic to the elves, without which they would have no power.
And that is what we are surmising.
Where do the crystals play into that, though? Why the crystals?
They came across the sea from the west.
Some sort of arcane focus.
From the west? As in west of Avalon?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus
great.
Christ, what the fuck is west of Avalon?
Ships arrived one day with shipments about 500 years ago, and the crystals were born. The palaces were raised, grown, sung.
Where does the compulsion come from to say there is nothing west of Avalon? Why do people... What is that taught in grade? That's all humans, all elves, so it's not a taught thing, because these people aren't
Everyone.
taught the same way. It's
Everyone
everyone.
you ask it says it, replies.
It is...
Father and us.
Do you know of the spell suggestion?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a spell akin to that. If you used detect magic around someone who was saying it, it would not show up. It is a very low level spell, but it is built into the fabric of the world.
That doesn't sound low level to me.
But that is the only thing.
And why doesn't it affect
A
us
low-level spell that's been broadcast en masse.
across the world?
There is a place far to the east that is far enough away, I suppose, on both sides of this globe, that as to be just in the middle of both walls of this spell. One place that is unaffected.
Amplifier.
No, one place on the opposite side of the world that is unaffected. One town in which you will find individuals that if you ask what is west of Avalon, none of them will reply, and most of them will ask where Avalon is.
But
Oh,
the question...
Then it'll be east of Avalon.
True. The question remains, what would have that...
did I muted time then?
I think
You
you
did.
did.
Yay!
We do not
I
know.
don't panic.
We do not know. The seas churn and roil. The distance is too far for any, even the most powerful mages to use to fly there. We have sent winged folk from the east, the Arakocra, but none have returned. We do not know. We cannot teleport there, it blocks our magic.
What's to the south?
To the south of here,
Well, yes, far to the south. We've more than one of us has received messages that seem to imply that we should move south.
well, there is the continent, there's Shalem, Gaul.
This is not what I'm looking for. Something to do with the gods.
Well, to the southwest, well, southeast, sorry, there's Gracia. Most of the gods still reside there. So they are not what they once were and pose no threat to the Elven Empire, at least according to the elves. Further south than that is well, there's Egyptus. There's a few gods there, ruling over their, I suppose, their people.
So I have another question. I'm sorry, I'm full of them today, but if there is a large demonic entity, or a demonic entity of some kind, or an entity of some kind, feeding power to the elves to allow them to perform magic, perhaps using the crystal as a catalyst or a focus of some kind to increase their range on that, I can understand that. But if that's the case, presumably there still has to be access to other planes for this to be possible.
I mean, we're on a different plane now.
Yeah.
Don't
No.
mean that, I mean...
And did you mean sound from this plane, the Grisha?
Not quite. not technically on a different plane. You're in a
Mansion.
hole.
A pocket dimension.
Yes, but much larger than a pocket, as you can see. Like a...
A void.
Have you heard... You're a woman of science. You've heard of bags of holding?
Yes. Also, I can make a pocket dimension.
We're in
Just
one.
a much smaller scale.
Yes. Imagine a bag of
We own a
holding...
bag of holding.
Yes, imagine a bag of holding. This is like a pit of holding.
Well, that's depressing.
Wow, we can breathe.
Couldn't you call it like an attic of holding?
A conservatory of holding, if you will.
Observatory of holding.
I mean, we're in a kitchen at the moment.
The kitchen of holding. House of holding.
So, what plane were you talking that the gods were on?
Yours.
All right. But what about the entity that the elves are going?
It is
Is
well, southeast in Gracia. Your gods, anyway.
They've been awfully quiet recently.
What about?
They are starved.
I suppose not a lot of people know about them.
Worship?
Yes.
There's only so much I can do.
One of the greatest accomplishments of the human spirit thousands of years ago was that you dreamed the gods into existence. That's why they exist. They exist because you willed them to.
What do you mean, you?
As a race, I imagine.
As a race. He's talking effectively to Dysent Ace at this point.
Yes. So you're not an elf, and you're not a human. What are you?
I don't know. I haven't looked too much into it.
That seems like a shady answer, my friend.
I look
Yes.
like a human. I walk like a human. I can do things that no other human can. Lots of other
Such
humans
as?
can do things that I can't.
What can you do that humans can't do?
Let's see. I am, by your reckoning, 1500 years old.
That's somewhat old.
And I've
That's
never,
lovely.
I've never used an ounce of magic willfully or knowingly to stop myself from aging.
But you do use magic.
I have innate abilities that allow me to do some magical things, yes.
What about the demon lords? Are they stuck on their plane?
Or were they stuck here?
Or are they stuck on our plane?
When the Sundering happened, a great deal changed in the magical world. 2/3 of humans disappeared. The gods were locked out of Valhalla, Olympus. They found they could not return. And
What's if they were there in the first place? Is that only the ones that were on the mortal planes at the time?
they were kicked out, ejected from their planes. Others were locked behind the doors in their own planes.
So there are
Some-
gods that are trapped in Valhalla.
Potentially. There is some leakage from time to time. There are some forces that can draw a small amount of energy through from other planes. For example, I know he's not here right now, but your little friend that I have heard tell of, and he's looking at sepsis. Something with energy that small can sometimes get through if drawn to to your plane.
What about the gods of other races?
As I said, in Egyptus, the gods came down and have, for the last 2,000 years, seemingly ruled over as somewhat benevolent rulers, of their people.
And demons.
They are no friends to the elves.
Who are their people?
The Egyptians.
Logically.
And demons.
Further south than that, in the jungle, there are the children of Set. Some.
I mean, one of them had to get onto our plane.
Yes.
That's the only way I can happen.
Yes. I asked that question myself when I found you.
When you found me.
Yes.
When did you find me?
Screaming in a thunderstorm, untouched by rain, in a large circular clearing. Hundreds of trees burnt to a crisp and knocked down around you from an explosion centering on the point that you lay.
I've done that before again.
I know.
And no one else just like that.
No.
Wow, Granny was telling the truth. I was found under a rock.
Pretty accurate, actually.
Yeah.
Well,
Not on the old gal.
on top of a rock, but she was quite old.
I have a question for you. A lot of children were taken to Shalem. To Nidum. Were my parents actually my parents? Or was I also a found thing somewhere? I'm just curious.
No, your parents are two very dear friends of mine. They helped me and many other children in their youth, and when the fear of them having a child in such an oppressive land seemed to come true, and the joy of being pregnant with you was tempered by their fear of still being in Shalem and having you taken away, I arranged their safe passage from the continent to Nidum.
Thank you. Are they okay?
They are, well, the last time I saw them, which was not that long ago, maybe a week.
And Granny?
Granny is even more ornery than she was when you left.
That's
She
my man.
misses you terribly, and every time I offer to get word to you, she tells me to shut up and stop being soft.
On my
That's
part.
my Granny.
She's a confusing woman.
That's how she shows affection.
Your Pa is in his element. He is currently being shown new and wonderful star metal to work with. He's enjoying the work greatly, but misses you. But again, he is of the mind that wherever you are doing your God's work, and the Thor will keep you safe.
If we could find him.
We will. I'm sure.
Yeah, we will.
What of the girls now?
Always wandering off.
Well, Thor?
Hey, did you find all the pieces of my master?
Pieces?
Pieces?
It was.
Yeah, Ace is a bit sort of.
Why is your master in pieces?
Had a little accident.
The
The
tower.
sepsis genuinely sound as joyful as Greg does. 'Cause
I can't see your face, but you sound
Roll.
like you're grinning.
Roll an insight check.
Yes, please. I rolled them against sepsis. Oh my god. If I rolled this against some of the inside checks I actually need to do, Greg. Okay, fine.
I got a nat 20.
18.
I did not do well.
Sepsis, are you actively trying to mask how you feel about this?
Nope.
Then how do you feel about this?
Deeply amused, and I'm wondering if I genuinely wonder if Marcus knows what happened to him.
Alright. That was loud.
Sorry. We, as you well know, Sepsis, did not find all of him.
What a shame you can't give him a proper burial.
I'm sure wherever the missing pieces are, they're being treated in the manner that he deserves.
No, it's
What manner is that?
That is for
Yes,
Sepsis.
Marcus, what manner is that?
That is for Sepsis to tell you, not me.
I suspect that may never
How
happen.
should they treat his bits, Sepsis?
And what manner would the remains of the person who left a child in his care deserve to be treated, Marcus?
Oh, feed me more fury. I find out what happened to
It's
Sepsis.
just like it's like concerned, but also interested to know.
Sepsis, I could spend the rest of your life and mine apologizing for what I put you through. But, unfortunately, you would have to get in a queue. And the queue is quite long for people who
Go in
have a
front of me.
problem with the decisions I've made.
I think that
I have many, many things to atone for. I'll just add yours to it.
yes, well, perhaps one day we shall have a long discussion about it.
What I'm getting out of this is Sepsis' master was abusive,
And a dickhead by the sound of it.
which explains so much.
No, absolutely.
He sort of like goes very quietly over to Sepsis and just holds them.
Sepsis slithers away.
Ace respects that and goes back to their seat.
That explains so much behaviour problems.
You may
To be
well
fair-
have many, you may well have many children to answer to, Marcus, but not all of them will be so capable of demanding those answers as I intend to be.
No, they won't. Some of them are dead. And the look on his face as he makes this admission. In fact, no, roll an insight check on Marcus. If you want to know.
No.
Sepsis don't give a fuck.
Ta-da!
With advantage, because he's not hiding it well.
Okay. Slightly better. 17.
16.
Oh, hang on. It's 11.
11.
I'm too in shock.
Okay.
Well, Ace got 17.
He is Ace and Dice. You can see just by the look on his eyes, you heard the term 1,000-yard stare. You cannot fathom the distance in his stare. How much he's seen, how much he regrets, how much he feels guilty for. He is the closest you can describe what you see in his eyes is haunted. But you've seen that on the face of people before. This is if he is haunted by 1,000,000 souls. That one look for that moment as his mask drops, you wonder how he carries on. And then the mask goes back up and he is comfortable, agreeable, amicable Marcus again.
It must be difficult to try to help so many children and get blamed when things go wrong, huh?
Sepsis laughs.
I mean, if you're at fault for it.
But for trying to help people in the first place.
No, but when it goes wrong. Just because your intentions were good doesn't mean you get let off when something goes wrong. You still need to own up to your mistakes.
I
That's
would
how
say
you grow
that's-
and learn.
I would say that he does.
When next I ask you these questions, Marcus, you won't be so able to shrug off the answers.
Sepsis, that sounds like a threat.
Does sound quite threatening, yeah.
Take it as you will. And Sepsis walks out.
Alright?
Okay.
It's not, well, at least, you know, I was found and given to a loving home.
Sounds like you screwed things up with Sepsis pretty
I
badly.
do have to wonder the thought process of giving a tiefling child to a gnome.
She was quite adamant that she be the one to look after you. You were not given so much as snatched out of my arms, and
Yeah.
better men than I have tried to take things from your nan and failed.
Yeah, I've watched. It's great.
Pa was a little reluctant, I hear, but accepted it.
Your pa was reluctant to a lot of things.
Your pa
No.
was not reluctant, more like deer in headlights. What am I supposed to do with this? I think he did okay.
I think so too.
Great. You did great.
If you have more questions, I implore you to please save them for tomorrow. I have to help the old man upstairs. And as he says this,
goes to help and then like feels the pang of pain from like their ribs and is like,
Ace who turns to do this.
yeah.
As you turn to do this, you realise stairs are now in the room that were not there before.
Mm.
And they lead up to a second floor that also didn't exist before. And instead of earth above you, there are now floorboards. And he helps the old man up. The old man makes small kind of sounds as he scrapes his tiny little walking stick along the floor. And he kind of looks at you all as he takes Marcus's arm and out of his one good eye kind of stares blearily at you. You came on a bad day.
Tomorrow would have been better, eh?
Tomorrow will be better.
Maybe we'll see you tomorrow.
Fine days, Wednesday.
Post on Wednesdays.
And he starts to snore as he stands there. And Marcus just scoops him up in his arms and walks off upstairs.
I follow him upstairs.
Okay, as you get upstairs, there are two doors on a small landing. He takes the right one. The right door just opens as he approaches. You can see no one try to open it, no hand on the inside. There are lights, or there is at least some light source on the inside of the room that he enters. And the door closes behind him.
I wait outside.
Dice, Ace?
I'm going to walk in and
Ace
with sepsis.
You're going to go to sepsis? Ace?
Ace is just continuing to sort of sit
Sit by the fire and eat.
and sort of take everything in.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go back into the bedroom where I assume sepsis went.
Mm-hmm.
Is sepsis there?
Yes.
I'm just going to wander in and go, so, that was an interesting moment. Are you okay?
Yes.
I'm sorry. But it sounds like you had an unpleasant childhood. I don't know anything beyond what you said in there, but I'm sorry for any child that goes through an unpleasant living situation. What was your master like?
When last I saw him, most interesting.
Sounds like he deserved it.
Nothing ever happened to Pestilence that he didn't deserve.
To be fair, his name was Pestilence. Never going to be a good sign. I wonder what
He
went
took the
them
name
up.
himself.
Sorry?
He took the name himself.
Of course he did. Why wouldn't you?
I don't think he had a name before he had to give me one.
Why would they choose to give a child to someone so obviously unsuitable.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Perhaps it's worth asking Marcus that rather than threatening his life.
One day I will.
What are you intending to do to Marcus, Sepsis?
Nothing right now.
In the future, I mean.
That would be between me and Marcus.
You're going to try and kill him?
Who can predict the future, Dice?
Sorry, let me rephrase. Is your intention to one day try to kill him?
I don't think that far ahead.
I don't believe that that's true. I believe that you have a plan. But if you don't want to talk about it, that's, as you said, between you and Marcus. But you should know, regardless of what your childhood was like, you have friends here who do care about you. I know you don't always believe that that's the case. You think we put up with you out of some sort of tolerance, I think. But you do have friends.
Well, I assume pity, actually, but...
It's neither pity nor tolerance. It's that we genuinely like you. You surprise me. You're sarcastic and funny and witty, and sometimes you see things that others don't. You can also be a bit of a twat, but I don't take it personally. Just try and remember not everybody hates you, and you don't have to do things on your own. And I'm gonna...
Are you offering to help me kill Marcus, Dice?
No. But I think sometimes it helps to talk through things with people so you can get a different perspective.
Ah, you're offering to talk me out of killing Marcus.
None of the above. I've never tried to talk you out of things. You've never given me the opportunity.
I don't have any plans to kill Marcus, Dice.
Yeah. Can I roll an insight check against that, Rich?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's alright, my insight's +0. Sepsis is pretty safe with anything they say.
Sepsis, roll whatever you want.
17.
17.
Ooh, I don't know what happens there.
I don't know what happens now.
Okay.
Reroll?
Sepsis, no sepsis. What were you rolling?
Deception.
Cool. So, tell her the truth, please. Your roll creates the DC. She met it.
Yes,
Oh,
this one's Marcus dead.
Yeah, Dice is not really surprised by this, so give you information. I just nod and go, alright, well, as I said, just remember that we care about you and we're here, and try to trust us a little bit. We're not going to leave you by the side of the road.
I always place my trust in you.
So far, so good.
We all know that I couldn't survive in the world without the three of you, Dice.
You're a remarkably powerful, whatever you are. I think you survive quite well without us, except perhaps the social interactions with people, but your natural distrust of everyone we meet means that you'd probably stay alive longer than I would.
No. No. Anything that we've encountered so far would have killed me if I was there on my own. Anything.
I've seen you shoot bolts of light and...
However, I also want to interject completely out of character at this moment. Anything that has attacked you so far probably wouldn't have if Sepsis had been on his own and not fucked up.
On their own.
On their own.
Are you saying that Sepsis fucks up a lot?
No, all I'm saying is, for example, Train.
As a party.
Train. Those hands wouldn't have attacked Sepsis because Sepsis wouldn't have looked in the fucking box. Literally everything that happened after that moment wouldn't have happened because the box wouldn't have happened had Sepsis been on their own.
Sepsis.
I almost said Sepsis. I almost said Sepsis. But anyway, I digress. Sorry, back into the room.
Well, to be fair, you're right, a lot of those things probably wouldn't have attacked us in the first place had you been on your own.
Perhaps, but something else would have. This is very clearly a dangerous world, not one I'm equipped to survive.
Wonder what will happen when you are.
Well, that will be a different day.
Yeah, I think it possibly will. Okay. I'm going to go check on the kids. Are the kids still awake, or are the kids still asleep, or are they awake now?
Kids are still asleep. They look exhausted, so they're still out cold.
I'm going to go to bed. I'm just going to lie down and go to sleep.
Okay.
I am also going to go to under bed.
Under your bed, cool. Okay.
Oh, under bed.
Oriana, you wait about 15 minutes and then the door opens again.
I'm going to put the kids to bed.
Okay. And you hear, you see Marcus backing out of it. And as he backs out of the room, you can see him just keeping his head around the door saying, "Don't worry, old man. I'll leave the light on. Nothing to be scared of. It's okay. I'm just across the hall." And he closes the door behind him and turns and does not look surprised to see you standing there.
Does he have a mark on his face when we're through the glass, mug at him?
Yes, there is a bruise just under his left eye.
I've forgotten the name of the spell. Healing word, there we go. I cast healing word to heal it.
Okay. Okay. And he rubs at the now no longer throbbing cheekbone on his face and says, "Thank you."
I'm sorry.
You and your friends never, no matter what happens, have to apologize to me. Ever.
No, I shouldn't. In the last few weeks, my entire world has changed. I've watched two of my two best friends be treated, I can't even put into words how badly, while I'm applauded because of what I am.
If you'd been around 2,000 years ago, it would have been a very different story. Almost exactly the opposite, in fact.
I trade for that now.
A lot less humans are burned at the stake every day than were tieflings back in the day.
Sounds like a very nice way to go.
Well, it was a prolonged way to go, considering you're all resistant to fire.
I know some of my race's history. I'm not going to tiptoe around that. A lot of them deserved it. Still, doesn't give me the right to scream and throw things at you.
No, but much
You
of...
were doing what you thought was best.
Tell that to Sepsis.
Sepsis had it much worse than me. I got put into a loving home with a woman who, although she did beat me, I definitely deserved it.
So she has told me.
And I would never dream of laying a finger on her.
She believes it made you hard enough to survive anything this world can throw at you.
That's what she used to tell me, and I didn't understand what she meant. I grew up thinking that when I came of age and I was allowed to go, that I would be fine. Admittedly, I didn't plan on going my own. I always wanted Dice to be with me. If I'd known that going out would have meant Dice and Ace would be perceived as my slaves, I can't even speak to them in public. If I'd known that, I never would have left.
I know.
And even that aside, if I'd known the way I would have been treated, I wouldn't have left. The novelty wears off really quick.
If you travel south, you are for want of better words, a lot less special down there. Horns mean nothing when you see the body of a man with the legs of a lion and the head of a minotaur.
I look forward to it.
The further south you go, the stranger everyone else is, the more accepted all of you will be.
Then why is it just this area?
Because you are in the northernmost kingdom of the Elven Empire. You are in fact ground zero of the Sundering.
But it has limits.
Not the Sundering that made all the humans disappear. No, the ground zero was here.
Yeah, but it didn't reach everywhere.
Every human, the human race across the entire planet was reduced by 2/3 overnight.
But the Elven Kingdom doesn't spread everywhere.
Oh no, sorry. The Elven Empire is the majority of the continent, most of Albion. Pictland to the north is, they say they're free, but it's more like they're in prison. As long as the wall between them holds.
I didn't pay much attention in school, but I am well aware that if there is two different empires, one of them can usually take on the other.
And most people would agree with you, which is why we believe the elves are gearing up for a major push further east and south.
Well, I want to be in a position, if they try that, I can give the elves hell on earth. I would happily watch every single one of those bastards burn. And I'll burn them myself.
There are a few good ones.
I know. I've slept with one.
Which one? I'm not surprised, just which one?
The Overseer's wife from Port Howe.
Oh, Lena.
Yeah.
She's
in the continent now.
We were wondering. She is. We thought she was trying to. We thought she was trying to investigate the human underground network, the Freedom Guild, call it what you will, wherever it is, by being nicer to her staff, by being nicer to her slaves.
She's learning and she's trying.
No, we thought she was just trying to catch us out. But I suppose you have a far-reaching influence.
Sometimes. I still want the Inquisitor to burn.
Yes, well...
And that's not even just for his attitude to humans, it's his attitude to women in general.
You will find, if you travel further south, that is not just the Inquisitor, that is the entire Inquisition. There are no female elves allowed in the Inquisition.
Oh, goody.
Very many of them are exactly as he was. Some are worse. Most are worse.
All you're doing is letting me know where to find kindling.
Kindling for the fire that will burn the Empire to the ground.
I think that's a pretty good legacy. And from their empire, are new woods.
Temper your impulse.
It's not in my nature.
Oh, I know. We may need them more than you think.
Okay, but not all of them.
Not all, but something else is coming. There is something behind them.
And you don't know what it is yet?
All my years on this earth, I cannot see it.
Okay. Well, next time you see Granny, tell her I'm sorry.
I will.
And that the stash of the thing she's looking for is under the 3rd floorboard.
She already found it, and wanted to let you know that she knew anyway, and if you're aware that if I go to her and give her the message that you're sorry, she's going to throw a cup at me.
Yeah.
I can see
If
where
you tell her I already did it, she might not.
Perhaps. Though I can see where you get your aim from.
That's where I get a lot of my everything from. You picked good.
I have...
Or rather, you did a good decision letting her take me. I wouldn't have... I'd burn everything for her.
She would do the same for you.
At this point, I think I'd burn people for sepsis as well.
It's good that he has found, or they have, found a family.
I was about to say I don't think we are, but the way we fight, we probably are. There's something not right there, and something dark there. But I can't see any reason why they shouldn't be.
Who are we if we are not a product of our upbringing? Just another thing to blame myself for. Not seeing it sooner.
Well, we can't have eyes everywhere all the time. And that's what revenge is for.
I just wish I'd known he was there in the beginning. I wish he had appeared in the normal avenue. I wish that any of us had known that... Well, they had just appeared in the normal avenue. I wish any of us had known that...
How did you find sepsis?
We did not.
Their master did.
Their master never leaves the tower. And has never left the tower.
Their master summoned sepsis?
It is the only thing we can imagine. He was a summoner, did a lot of work with circles, and one day...
Summon a race? A demon, a deity of some form, yes, but a race?
One day, my steward went to make his... at Pestilence's request, his biannual visit to see how things were going, and it was apparent that sepsis was there.
In what state?
Quiet.
Sounds about right. Do you know what race sepsis is?
I do.
I know the skin colour, and I only know a few that can be that colour.
It is... Sepsis is well aware of where he hails from. Well,
Okay.
or where they hail from. Not exactly geographically, but the race at least. But it is for him to tell you. Them to tell you.
I know.
Come on, Rhett.
I know. I wonder why they won't tell us. Why they're either ashamed or... I don't know.
Have you asked? Outright? They seem to take things very literally. Have you asked them outright to show you their face?
It always seemed... I don't know. No, I haven't. I just always figured they'd show us when they're ready. If someone goes to that much effort to hide something...
Again, it is for them to show you and tell you.
That's fair. You're not all that bad.
I, however, unfortunately have a very long day tomorrow, which I'm sure will involve a lot more questions from the rest of you.
And I am tired and a little drunk. So, good night.
And he opens his door and goes to step into his room. Good night, Doriana.
Good night. And I head downstairs.
Genuinely thinking of giving Oriana inspiration for not accepting an open door and an older man alone in a
It
bedroom.
was so tempting.
Okay, so you go back downstairs. Ace,
Yeah.
you're still at the table, or
Ace is asleep at the table, like
Okay.
face planted in the food.
Ace is asleep at the table?
Oh, breathing
I
massive
sort of
exercise.
gently wake him up. I
Yeah.
just tap him,
Them.
them up. I just tap them on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, Ace,
Oh, did I
Yes.
fall asleep here?
let's go to bed, darling.
Okay. Ace sort of wearily gets up and like drags himself back to bed.
Oriana gets to the room and goes, I think Marcus just never mind.
Ace is too tired to take any of that.
Oriana's too tired to care about. And Oriana just falls into bed with dice.
Yeah, Ace sort of like the most like unceremonious like thud of the armor that they had put on, and then just goes into bed.
Oh. Dice immediately snuggles Ori.
That's why Ori does it, because she knows she
So-
get cuddles.
Oriana's asleep.
Always
Yeah.
cuddle.
Yeah,
Dice is asleep.
yeah.
Ace is asleep.
Yep.
Sepsis,
Sleeping under bed.
you are sleeping under the bed.
What else would I be doing?
Well,
Having a wank.
who knows?
With sepsis, I don't know. You got your alchemy kit on you.
Under the
It's
bed?
Shooting from under the bed.
Yeah. Just a different colour smoke start coming out from under the bed.
Oh, look, so-
Bubbling noises.
Sepsis is asleep.
Very well.
Probably a good place for a midstream break.
I was going to say you all sleep dreamlessly. In fact, when you wake up the next morning, and this is what I'll leave you with before the break, when you wake up the next morning, you all feel slightly disconnected. Like you struggle to remember your dreams. You feel like you should have had some. Almost as if they were trying to break through, but couldn't.
Feels like waking up from a bad trip.
And it leaves you all quite disconcerted. However, clear one level of exhaustion for those who had it. You've had a long rest.
Take a long rest.
Woo!
You've had a long rest. Okay, so yes, we're gonna take a midway break there.
Also, thank you for not making me roll a wild magic surge after healing.
Hang on, is Healing Wood a first level spell?
It's a first
Yes,
level
it is.
spell.
God damn it. Healing Wood was so shit for some reason. Healing Wood is such a crap spell that my brain just thought it was a cantrip.
No. Don't talk shit about healing word. It's a bonus action. It's the best spell that there is. It's certainly the best healing spell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Greg
alright.
reminded me in the week that I only have to roll a wild magic surge if you say so. So if you don't mention it, I don't have to.
I'm turning a sorcerer against you, Richard.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm just opening Oriana's character sheet and having it on screen at all times on the spells page.
Yeah,
As
that
long as
sounds
you're
right.
looking at Ariana's character sheet. You're not looking at mine.
I can open more than one tab.
Should we
Right.
take
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. We're gonna take a like 15-20 minute break there.
Half an hour. Somewhere between now and half an hour's time.
Thank you all for following along so far, and yeah.
Just before we
Uncensored
go on a
feeding
break as well,
sensitive.
just before we go on a break, I just want to say I don't know if Stuart, aka Chuckles, is still in the stream, but happy birthday if you are, mate.
Oh, happy birthday, Stu, if you're still here. And also, hi, Dwarf Warrior 25.
Yeah, I thought it was Dwarf Wario, but it's not.
No, Stu is Chuckles.
Yeah,
Chuckles.
Yes,
is
do it.
25.
Dwarf 25, who Greg thought was Dwarf Wario.
No, Dwarf Wario I thought was Dwarf Wario.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And also, hey Shane, love you forever. And also, hi Ian, because
Yeah.
you're here watching too. So
I'm
how's it
sure
going, bro?
that you can be
Lady.
gaming.
And of course,
Lady Sophie?
And of course, AD. I said hi to AD ages ago.
And we'll be back because I really want a cup of tea.
Yes, we're gonna be back in a bit. See you all soon.
Stop being emotional. I need tea.
Hello, and we are back. Welcome to the second half of session 25. Sorry it took so long. My kids are clingy. And awkward. Difficult to get to actually go to sleep. They do. But it's like, right, it's bedtime now. No, I've got to cook one more meal in Breath of the Wild. Oh, I cannot be bothered to argue because I know it's just going to get worse if I do. Yeah, okay, we cook a meal in Breath of the Wild and show me.
What have they got to do tomorrow, Brian? Go to school?
No. They do have to go home though.
Oh well. They're your ex's problem then.
No, they're not a problem.
No, they're never a problem.
No.
Well,
Oh,
some-
right. So, you all wake the next morning. According to Oriana's watch, it is about 7 o'clock when you finally come to a natural wakeful state. You look down to the end of the room, the girls are gone.
Oh,
Okay. Ace is going to be my
The bed has not been made. It's just like covers have been tossed.
I
To
get
one
up and go
side.
to the kitchen.
Okay.
I follow Ori because I'm attached to her.
Okay.
Ace is just going to pull on like clothesy type things and go to the kitchen. They're not going to get into armor just yet.
Okay. Sepsis?
Staying under the bed.
Okay. So the three of you get to the kitchen. The first thing you notice is the two girls are sitting there and shoveling food into their mouths. They do not look content. They look worried, a bit fearful, scared. But, you know, they're eating. And Marcus is standing there in the kitchen, cooking up some bacon and preparing breakfast for everyone.
Good morning.
As you're about to, as they're about to respond to you, or the girls look at you, the front door is kicked in, and a tall, as he steps in, he seems about 7 foot tall. Fine, long grey robes that look like thunderclouds. It's that kind of colour. There's a steel to his clothing, with a huge white wood staff, like a yew or elm, ash potentially, and the man with huge beard, long, dark, with shocks of grey hair, one eye, just kind of strides into the room.
Happy Wednesday.
Good morning.
Ace is just going to very be sort of inwardly squeeing and be like, "Good morning."
I just slowly move Ace over to sit down at the table, like calm.
He wanders over to Marcus, and he doesn't touch Marcus, but Marcus almost looks as if he's getting pushed out of the way by him drawing near, and just kind of scoops 3 pieces of bacon straight out of the frying pan into his hand and just starts munching on them. Fine food, fine. So, who are you?
You did meet us yesterday, but I would imagine you might not remember.
We've met before that as well.
My name's Ace.
Of course it is. You
My name's Oriana.
well met, my child. And he nods at Ace. You are strong. Can see why he likes you when he sleeps and dreams.
You're telling me Thor dreams of Ace?
Of course. Look at them.
Oh.
Look at what they
Ace
can
is
do.
having like palpitations.
Oriana winks at Ace.
Look at what they can do. Where do you think that comes from? It's not from me.
Oh, yeah, I've seen what they can do. I've just never imagined them, Ace, Thor dreaming of Ace.
You do not know much about the ways of us, do you?
No.
Not at all. You're not exactly in the greatest contact with us.
We see you so frequently.
Infrequently.
There are...
Oh, I get. It's too early. I don't get sarcasm at this time of the morning.
True. There are so few of you, though, that it makes it difficult to traverse long distances quickly. But I am here now.
And in such fine form.
I pour a couple of cups of coffee, and I hand one to Mr. Wednesday and one to Marcus.
That was a good book.
It was a good book.
So it was a book.
Strange bean fluid.
It really perks up the soul.
It's delicious.
And he drinks it down.
I fucking dare you. I fucking dare you to. I set this up, bitch.
Resist.
She's not his son.
Think about the intellectual property rights.
I like
There's
this.
something happening in chat.
Smash! Another! And Marcus just hands his to him without even saying a word. He does this every time.
Not the greatest memory then.
Today is a new day. Yes,
Every day a new day?
it is a day for visiting. I will be outside. They do not like it indoors. And he wanders out into the flower garden.
Who don't like it indoors, Marcus?
And he gestures towards the door, or nods towards it.
Hand
You
Ace a plate of food and a drink and just go.
You see darkness descend on the garden outside, but it's the light just comes and goes as if being blocked by the wings of some huge gargantuan creature. And you can hear the flapping of wings and the cawing of ravens outside.
Wait, it's me and Sepsis?
Eggs is just going to stand like eagerly by the door, eating their breakfast. Just like,
As you approach the door then and you actually step outside, the birds are not gargantuan, they are large for ravens, slightly smaller than Cedric.
it's in Tokyo.
But considering his size, as they land on his shoulder, they do not look out of place there. Roll a perception check, guys.
Yep.
So happy to do so, I would imagine.
That
20.
is 18.
21.
Just Ace, unfortunately. 21. Was that 21?
18.
18, sorry.
You can have my 21 if you want.
No. So, both of the ravens bend their beaks to his ears. But as you look closer, you notice that the tips of the beaks actually pass straight through his skin into his skull. And you can just see him comfortably standing there going, of course.
A raven lobotomy.
Well, yes. Why would she? That's hilarious. And he just starts laughing to himself. He's basically checking his texts in the morning. He's checking his... He's woken up, he's unlocked his phone and gone, okay.
Noshing their breakfast whilst like listening to Odin just do
Marcus
message checking.
Marcus kind of sits down and just puts his head in his hands and goes, it's going to be a busy day apparently.
Why is that now?
He said it was a day for visits. That was he did not mean him.
What did he mean?
He was talking to me.
All right. You're going to have to be a little more...
Are you expecting visitors or are you going visiting?
I am not expecting visitors, but according to the old father out there, I am certainly going to receive some.
Should we not be here?
This is the safest place for you right now. If you have any further questions for me, however, depending on who turns up, they may have to wait.
Why do I feel like I should have dreamt but didn't?
Do you often dream of your gods?
Sometimes.
No.
Yes.
Perhaps sometimes have visions that could come from them?
Yeah.
Mostly
I'm just sort of answering over my shoulder and then carrying on.
In this plane, it is difficult for them to communicate. If there is something they wished to tell you, it cannot pass the barrier to hear.
What on earth are they trying to tell me by showing me being some sort of overruler of hell? With wings.
They showed you what, sorry?
Oh, I've had a dream in the past where I'm in hell and have a throne and I have wings, but there's a door I can't get through.
Cool.
That's kind of scary.
I mean, yeah, some people think it's cool. Some people, like Ace, thinks it's pretty scary.
Okay.
I think the door was made of bones.
Yeah, that sounds pretty scary.
It sounds great. I had a dream about armor.
And that does not surprise me in the slightest.
Mine are usually about protecting people.
That doesn't surprise me either.
That's right, yes.
I'm just waiting for Sepsis to tell me they have dreams of killing people. I'm like, yeah.
Why would Sepsis dream that? They're not there.
You've met Sepsis, right?
Yeah, but...
I don't think they actually ever have, but I definitely think they've got it in them.
No, they're pretty gentle at heart, I think.
Yeah, they're a good bean.
You look concerned, Marcus.
It's the hell thing.
Probably.
It's nothing
You're one of the rats drinking.
It's nothing I've really come across before. Dreams of hell, but...
I mean, it was a hell-like scape. I couldn't say it is hell. You know, there was lava and fire and...
Hey, Ori, do you want to be Queen of Hell? I mean, that's a hell of a job.
I mean, I've never been.
Sorry, I was being punny.
I know. It's too early.
I think I'm funny.
You just drink more coffee.
I think so too.
Thanks, Ace.
Okay. Well, I will look into that more and let you know if there's anything to be worried about.
Cool.
Okay.
I turned to the two girls. I'm like, are you two okay?
Yeah, how are you two today? Are you okay? Do a little girl's voice, Rich. Come on.
2 little girls.
2 little girls had 2. Sorry. Each had a wooden horse.
Why? Why you do this to me? Why?
The
You
children.
fucking wrote the character.
Yeah, okay. We don't know where we are.
That's okay, neither do we.
That's not exactly comforting, guys.
We're safe.
It's safe.
We're not we're safe.
This man here says that he's going to take us somewhere safe with people who will look after us.
Yes, it's similar to a place where we came from, where we grew up.
All of us. It's
We
a
were
really
very safe there.
It's so safe that Dice is my best friend.
I am.
Were you happy where you were?
Yeah.
Very.
I was
Yeah.
so happy there.
Okay.
You might get to meet my parents. They're the nicest people.
Oh, my granny.
My pa.
She's okay. Nah, she's
Pa's a
lovely.
little grumpy on the outer, but he's a good guy.
If you meet Pa, he is the sweetest human being.
You just have to get past the hard exterior, the soft core.
Alright.
You're going to be okay. And you'll learn how to use your talent.
Mhm.
There's people there who'll teach you.
I don't have a talent.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
My mother and father told me to hide it.
Aha. Do you want to see a trick? And I make my hands light up with lightning. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to use shocking grasp, but make it light up and then just put it out again and see. See? A lot of humans have special skills that maybe they don't teach you about.
Are there any sort of candles or anything in the room?
Yeah, most of the room is lit by candles this far into it.
I'm going to use control frame to make it all dance.
Okay.
Cantrips, bitch!
And shocking.
And the
I don't have cantrips.
flames start leaping and chasing each other around the room from the candle to candle.
See? Magic can be a thing of fun.
It's still something that needs to be respected and learned to control. But once you've got it, it's fun.
Okay. And she like touches her cup of water in front of her, and then just kind of causes it to shoot upwards like an ice spike.
Nice.
Until it impales the floorboard above you.
See?
Nice knife
Drop.
for an ice knife.
Oh god. You see, control is something you learn in time, but being scared of it won't help. You need to practice and
Own it.
learn about it. Things
It's
I wish I
yours.
could have said in the film.
It's yours to control. Just respect it. And don't sneeze.
That's really your problem, Ori. I don't
That's
have
all my
any.
problem. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, I just blame it on sneezing. It's just me.
I will I'll remember you said that.
Hey. Anna, do you have any special skills?
Other than being
Um,
adorable.
Totally adorable.
Yeah. And she puts up both of her hands, and the flames that are currently chasing each other around the room all shoot into a ball in front of her, and she waves her hands around, and it turns into basically a horse that starts rearing in the air in front of her, and then
Ponytail.
she sends all the flames back to their candles.
Oh, that's more my style.
That's very clever. Well done.
I'm very good with fire.
I see that. Yes?
It's handy to pick one element. But you can always go on to learn another.
Well, theoretically,
Well.
it depends what type of magic you have at heart, but
We didn't learn. We can just do.
That tends to be how it starts.
unless they're elemental magic.
I mean, any magic. You just can suddenly do it one day, and then you learn to control it.
You know, not everyone learns the same way either. I mean, I learned through making machines and then giving them a spark of life. That was how I started.
I was born with it,
Maybe
but
it's
maybe it's
Maybelline.
make-believe.
Maybe it's sorcery.
Oh, very good.
I don't know, I woke up one day and
Set the house on fire.
yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
I don't want
Yeah,
to
I remember
set the
that.
house on fire.
I burnt down half the cottage.
She forgave you.
Once she'd
What
stopped
kind-
screaming at me, yeah.
Hey, what's happened with the ice at the farm? You don't have to talk about it, but I admit I'm
And they both kind of hold each other, and their eyes kind of go down.
yeah.
Hey, the day I burnt down half the cottage was because I was frightened. Something scared me.
Did you kill anyone?
Me?
Not then, but later we have.
And I definitely hurt people.
I could have got a healer for Mother if I hadn't lost control.
Maybe, but not
It-
necessarily.
It's not your fault that you lost control. Magic of any form is a difficult thing to control. No matter how good you get, there's always a risk you could lose control. And
Yes.
accepting that makes it easier.
In addition, you were put at a disadvantage. You were told to hide it, to not use it, to not practice. You were always at risk of losing that control because the control you had built was very thin.
And I will go we will go somewhere I can learn. We can learn.
Yes.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite place in the world.
And there are people who will care for you and they'll raise you like you're their children.
We didn't
You'll-
say before, but thank you for saving us.
It's alright.
You're very
I mean-
welcome.
Admittedly, the others need more thanks than me.
I don't know, Ari, you did a lot once you were there.
Yeah, once I was there. Once I was dragged there.
Might we be
Yeah.
excused?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
And they both stand up and they kind of nod to you and nod to Marcus. Marcus, because I will, I'll send for someone to come and collect you soon, and you'll be taken to a new family who will look after you. I promise.
It really will be okay as they're walking away.
So what do we think? TLC or a firm hand?
DLC.
I think they're going to respond better to a soft touch than a
They had a
opposing.
family before. Putting them somewhere strict might further isolate them. It sounds like their parents.
Yeah, they don't seem like wild things
Very respectful.
that
and
need a
kind.
wooden spoon throwing at them. I
I
think
know.
they need someone who's going to coax them.
I know of at least one loving couple currently missing their daughter quite a bit who might take them in.
In a heartbeat, I would imagine. Hey, then I get sisters.
You've got two little sisters.
I've already got one big sister. My family grows all the time.
Then I will send for the courier and see if she's available.
Tell them sorry for inflicting children on them again. They're not the youngest.
They'll love it.
Yeah, they will.
It'll be like they have grandbabies.
Ah,
So,
hopefully, I'm not old enough to have given birth to those two.
now you've slept on it. Any further questions?
Um,
While you're mulling that over,
Oh, I had a
Sepsis,
thing.
what are you doing?
Oh, sort of fiddling with the rules a little bit. I wanted to. I used a spell out of my spell storing ring
Okay.
last session, so I was hoping that I would have enough time to pop a new spell in there and then have a short rest to regain that slot.
Yeah. What, during this breakfast that you're not having? Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'll eat some of my pocket mushrooms.
Okay. Cool.
pocket mushrooms.
If you're doing nothing else apart from storing a spell and then using a short rest, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Cool. That's fine then. So you are having a short rest in the bedroom?
Yeah, I'm putting a Misty Step in there if you want to know.
Okay, cool. Okay, back in the breakfast room then. As you were about to ask your questions, you hear more flapping from outside. But this time you also hear screeching.
What does
And
AC?
a battering of wings.
Unpleasant noise for this hour.
Ace, because you're standing on the doorway, you see almost materializing at the gate. And passing through as a mist, but then coming even more into being, or like more solid. Two heavily cloaked figures.
Mm.
The hoods are up. They're wearing dark leather armor under their cloaks, very finely made. One of them stands there and motions to take his hood down. He's the one standing at the front. And the other one's hand shoots up and grasps his wrist, trying to stop him. But you hear a hiss from under the first hood, and the hand is quickly retracted. The hood is taken down. There is a very handsome man standing before you. He's about 6 foot tall, well built, but not overly muscular, quite lithe. And he has very long, dark hair, completely clean shaven, snow white skin, blood red lips, eyes so big as if there are no irises, as to almost be black. And he looks up and blinks blearily at the light emanating from the sky. You look up as well. There's no sun there, but there is light. And he smiles joyfully. And you hear him say to his colleague, I always so loved coming to this place. It is a favorite small little idiosyncrasy of this plane that the sun it appears, but it does not affect us as it would at home. Come. And he starts walking towards the house.
Okay. Ace is going to go over to Marcus.
You're going to step back in the house?
Yep.
Okay.
You have guests.
Very well.
I think they may need to be invited in.
Oh. Right. And he stands up and moves towards the door. The door is darkened, and you see him standing there talking, and he...
Oriana at the door like, oh.
He steps back, holds out his hand. I invite you into my home and give you hospitality. The first one walks through.
I understood.
I will always abide by the rules of hospitality and will destroy those who may betray them. And he looks over his shoulder as he says this and casts a long gaze at the guy at the cloaked figure standing behind him. He is young, but he can control himself. Marcus, it has been too long. And he wraps his arms around him and hugs him and picks him up off the floor. Marcus, you can see Marcus has his breath like parted from his body as he's placed back down. He's like, you have more guests. Allow me to introduce myself. It is no need. Your host, you will make us or them things, and just waves Marcus off with the air of someone who's used to being in charge. And he just kind of wanders over the table.
I'm sorry about the banging. The dog's got a toy and he's throwing it against the staircase, and there is nothing I can do about it.
That's alright. I can't hear anything.
No, me either.
I really can.
Thought someone had fallen down the stairs.
No, he's got his antler and he's lobbing it.
Hello. I am Vlad.
Lad,
Yes.
lovely to meet you.
You've heard of me, yes?
Have I heard of... Charlie, you've frozen. Have I heard of him?
He looks around at all of your faces and just like looks back at Marcus. You must get a much better class of guest, my friend. These serfs, they do not know who it is to whom they speak.
History check against this wretch. Have I ever heard of this guy?
Go for it.
Why not? Let's roll a history check against a vampire. That could be fun. 23.
23. No, you have not heard of this guy.
Damn it. Okay. Charlie's still real frozen.
Yeah, Charlie's like
Yes.
fully frozen. Like,
I don't know if she's dropped out. Charles, can you hear us?
oh yeah, Charlie left.
There you go.
So, who am I conversing with today?
Hello, my name is Dice. It's a pleasure to meet you.
A Western girl from Charlem.
Yes, well, sort of, but yes.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, monsieur.
It is been a long time since I graced your fine, tasty country.
It might interest you to know that I've never been there.
Yes, everything flows like wine there. It is tasty. And you are. And he's looking at Ace.
Ace Kovac.
I cannot place the accent, but from your pale demeanor and the fact you do not sound Shalem or continental in any way, shape, or form, I would have to say Albion. Yes?
You can say that.
Is it true that it is very wet in Albion?
It's fairly wet.
It is not so wet in my country, but it is always dark, which is why I'm happy to call it home. And who is this delectable creature I see before me? You horny one.
That is a bad time to come back into the call. Literally
Who
just
are you,
loaded
horny
back up
one?
with you, horny one. What?
Yes,
Oh yeah, sorry. I completely missed the last minute.
He's asking for introductions from Dice and Ace, and now he's asking from introductions from the delectable one who sits at the table with them.
Ariana Deverak.
Ariana Deverak, a name and face you look good enough to eat. And he smiles at you, and his canines are huge and incredibly pointy and sharp.
I just grin back at him showing mine, which are not as impressive, but they're
Yeah.
there.
They're gigantic.
My word here is of no consequence. And
Well, now I'm extra intrigued.
he starts, you see him kind of looking around the room, and he sniffs. We're not alone.
No.
Correct?
They're no threat.
I was going to say equally, I
Well,
believe.
no, they're a very fine vintage, 11 years. But
And they're not on the menu.
Of course, not in Marcus's house. They are not criminals. But
Well,
the other one,
What about the other one? The other one is a family member of ours.
not blood relation, I can tell that much.
no.
Not
Not
blood
this.
like
Mm,
friend who has become close.
Why? What do
I've-
they smell of?
something I have not come across in a very long time. Long time.
And that would be
Hang on. Natural 20 and an insight check. Roll persuasion or deception to convince him you already know,
deception or persuasion.
whichever you prefer.
Come on, Ari. Sorry, Greg.
It's fine.
You got to beat 27.
Jesus Christ.
Damn it, 25.
Oh, so close.
If it would appear, my dear, that you do not know what it is you travel with, and I am not one for giving other people's secrets out.
No,
At
and that's a
least-
good
at
thing to
least-
know about you.
Not without a relevant offer on the table. What could you give me?
Nothing I'm willing to give you. I'm just glad to know that you can keep things secret.
Well, not many people know of the location of this place. Though, Marcus, I must say I prefer your winter home. It is much more, what would you say, palatial, made of stone, Gothic. This is not my aesthetic.
Homey.
I
It's-
turn
it's-
to Ori and go, cliche? But very quietly and like just mouth it. I don't show my face to the vampires at all.
This is not my aesthetic.
No, I would imagine not.
I quite like it.
It's warm and sunny.
It's cozy.
Marcus, I have business with you. Marcus kind of just nods and asks him to proceed. Please, my friend, you look stressed. We have not come to fight or ask you for anything you have not promised in the past. Perhaps your new friends here could help me.
What is it that you're after?
It would appear the elves are trying to make a passage, a train through my lands,
Which lands are they?
the lands of Roma, to the east. The eastern continent, it's quite mountainous, hard to traverse. They are attempting to blast their way through the mountains. I am not best pleased with this. They are disturbing my children. And you hear the screech of bats that appear to be under his cloak.
All right.
I'm sorry for my flamboyant display. I am, as Marcus once put it, a drama queen.
Ace is sort of just like holding back a chuckle. With
I just prefer, and he flicks his hair back, queen.
I turned to Dice and go, I think I prefer Altair.
I'm so confused.
So,
I mean-
they work during the day and they leave before nightfall.
All right. So what are you hoping for someone to achieve with this issue?
I would ask that they stop. If they can make their way through the mountains as easily as they wish, then they will eventually take over my country.
How would we get to Roma to help?
When I leave, I will be there. When you leave, I know not where you will be.
A long way from Roma.
Perhaps. But
Where even is Roma?
Nearish to Shalem, but not quite. It's further east than Shalem.
Eastern continent. Don't worry, it's not. It's before the sands. I would not want to venture there. Sand is horrible and coarse, and it gets everywhere.
Oh, fuck you!
I hate sand.
You really hate sand.
You whiny little baby.
That being said,
Creepy predator fucking...
sand.
Ah.
So you want our help, but the favor is owed from Marcus, I believe. Is that correct?
I have done favors for Marcus. Marcus has done favors for me. I forget who owes who now.
But we do not, and forgive me here for sounding rude, but we do not currently owe you anything, I believe.
No, you do not, but if you wish, you may find a home in my country. You would be safe there. None come here to this plane, to this pocket that Marcus has made, that are not looking for a safe harbor.
It was a bit of an emergency.
But I do not expect that Marcus or yourself to make a decision straight away. However, I will tell you this, and he looks at Marcus at this point. The Council of the Clans, they are not best pleased with their ancestral home being abused this way. If they are kicked out, the treaty falls. All of your people, your kin, your brethren, and theirs will be fair game. We will not limit ourselves to criminals and murderers anymore.
There's a deal to prevent what, humans being lunch?
There is a deal to prevent all of the races being lunch. We would wipe at least one race a year off the map if we wished to.
That seems like a bad way to propagate your food source.
Also seems like a great threat from someone who can't be in the sun.
There are ways
You're sort of limited to 50% of a day.
There are ways of darkening your land.
I'm sure.
At least one of the clans has the means to do it.
So, let me get this straight. And Marcus, forgive me if I'm overstepping here. There is a treaty to stop the races of all the world being lunch to vampires. But what's the exchange? What do you give them?
Criminals. Information.
Information. That makes more sense than just criminals. Otherwise, why restrict themselves?
They are, well, protection during the day. A lot of their servants and serfs and guardians sent their way by me.
Interesting.
And in return, they are looked after, cared for until their dying day. And then those who choose it are adopted into our ranks.
What are your views of the elves, though? To the vampire this time.
Slightly sweeter than sugar, less sweet than honey.
Are elves still fair game?
Of course.
Why have you not wiped the elves out if it is so simple to do so? I'm not meaning to be impertinent. I'm merely curious. This is a new situation for me.
Roll a persuasion check.
Persuasion?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that never goes well for me. Okay.
I don't know if I can assist you on it.
Probably not. It's a 14.
In ages past, the elves' natural magic in their blood protected them from us, or offered at least some kind of protection. They numbered among them thousands of druids who could call the power of the sun even in the darkest night to aid them. Now, however, it is difficult to kill them for entirely different reasons. Some of them are already partially dead.
Sorry, what now?
Some of them are what now?
At least partially dead. They have given up on a sliver of their soul to a necromantic power.
How many of them, percentage-wise, would you say, are afflicted with such a unfortunate curse?
All of the ones I've come across in the last 500 years.
Just confirms what we already knew.
They're all elves and warlocks.
Or something along that line.
I suppose there's other lines to give yourself to a patron and get power in return. Which
But-
patron?
Who has that power? All right. We would like, I would imagine, to discuss this with certainly our other friend who is still in bed, I believe. But
They will not get through the mountains for weeks, perhaps months. It is not urgent.
to both of you, Marcus and Vlad, what do you know of the Underdark?
I like it there. It is chilly, dark. I can stay awake for days.
Fatal to us?
Of course. It is full of drow. They do not take well to those with your... Well, it has been known, and he looks at Marcus coyly, for a drow to take a fancy to a human.
Oh,
Fancy in what way?
Yeah, I'm very invested in this story now, Marcus.
Oh, in what way? I suppose you would call it a fancy if one swore a life debt to them and swore to give them their heart when they were ready to accept it. Marcus is just stone-faced.
You see, there is this belief that drow are universally evil, but vampires don't have the best reputation either.
I know, it is a reputation we have fought to maintain. It is a well-earned reputation.
Have the drow fought to maintain the same?
Propaganda.
Thank
But
you.
they are very xenophobic. If you walk into their lands, much like ourselves, maybe fair game.
Marcus, I would like to discuss this with you at some point before we leave, wherever we go to.
But there are not only the drow in the Underdark.
I'm aware there are other...
There are many things that terrify even them.
even you?
There are some things that move in the Underdark with no blood. It is difficult for me or any of my kin to kill things that do not bleed.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. I don't think my husband's look prouder of me.
Aww. But this is what I've come to say. The more bestial of us have already drawn up plans to move into the werewolf's land. That is not a battle I would like to be caught in the middle of.
The werewolves? Why would you move into the werewolf's land?
Because the more bestial of us can exist during the day in wolf form. The werewolves believe it is an affront to their goddess. That's
Where-
the... What?
Where is the werewolf's land in comparison to Roma?
Moldavia. South.
So there is an entire country devoted to werewolves.
And other were creatures, but Most of the more exotic races tend to travel even further east.
I learn more every day.
Gwendolyn never mentioned anything about that.
Who the hell was Gwendolyn?
The werewolf of the humans.
The
Got it.
back with
Caught
The
up
one
with-
Oriana fucked.
yeah,
Yes.
back
Any-
with the humans in Postel.
Any werewolves you have met in Albion, perhaps are not of the same bloodline.
Maybe.
These werewolves are born, not bitten.
So, upshot is you would want us to remove the threat of the elves mining through the mountain, or Marcus, who was you, and you want us to discuss this, and for someone to do it, otherwise huge captures and all of the species of Earth are fair game.
Look, this is not a threat. It is a warning. I have enjoyed the peace we have had for centuries.
Because it stops you getting killed as much.
I do not look forward to a war. Unless it is with a more common enemy.
Can anyone hear like a fan?
Yeah.
Oh, it's my laptop. It's being a
I cannot
silly.
Craig. Can you mute yourself, please? Because I can hear you knitting.
Yeah, my laptop fan. I've got it raised, but it's still loud.
That's okay. Just so I know I'm not going insane.
Yeah.
Okay. We will discuss it. You said apart from a common enemy, who would you consider a common enemy?
Elves. Sorry.
Your delectable friend over here has the right of it.
I thought you probably would. That is also interesting information. Do all factors differ?
You hear a growl, a
I was gonna say-
low growl from outside the house, and both of the cloaked figures stand up, hissing,
Oh god.
immediately turn into a cloud of bats that rush around the room, blowing all of the candles out, and fly as one straight out the front door.
Okay.
So dramatic.
Ace is sort of like holding back on the counter, just like, well, that was dramatic.
Well,
What's the growling? No, screw asking. I'm gonna go look.
Come in! And he just calls without opening his eyes. As you get up to step towards the front door, a shadow looms over the door again. And crouching down, from floor to the top of its back, with its hackles raised at the moment, is an 8 foot tall, 4 foot wide Timberwolf. It is massive. As it stretches up to its full height then, once it's through the doors, its back is brushing the rafters above you.
fucking big.
Oh.
Big. That's real big mind.
Its head is
Okay.
bigger than one of the chairs you are sitting on, and its yellow eyes just kind of look around
Now would be a terrible time for Sepsis to walk into the room.
and take
I
you all
wait.
in.
Hi.
It kind of wanders over.
I don't want to fuss it.
Bacon?
I don't think you should.
And as you say him, the wolf just kind of looks around. "Oh,"
Huh?
and then just carries on. And then just as Marcus is sitting there, he puts out his hand and the wolf just kind of like leans into Marcus's hand and nuzzles it with its head.
Her head, I assume.
And then the wolf begins to shrink. Shrinks down. Marcus, from the back of his chair, takes his travelling cloak and throws it over the form of the wolf. And as he stands up, there is a very tall, about 6'5", human woman standing there, lithe, muscular, from the bare skin you can see between the cloak as she draws it around her. Long brown hair that flows all the way down to where her ass would be.
I look at Ori and go, I don't want to fuss her less.
And piercing,
Gone. She's just staring
still
at
kind of piercing like yellow irises as well. And then just kind of bends down to kiss Marcus on the cheek.
Hi.
Marcus, my love, it has been too long. You have bacon? And Marcus just kind of gestures towards the kitchen. She looks over, it's like, you have bacon you have not cooked? And Marcus holds up his hand.
You're saying that, I can just imagine it. If she had ears, they'd be going, huh?
And Marcus just kind of holds up his hands and goes into the larder and just pulls out like a wrapped kind of haunch of bacon. And she just kind of holds it in her hand and just starts gnawing at it and kind of looks up.
Oh, it's like Keeper when somebody makes a noise and he goes,
Hello?
Hi,
And you
you're
are?
beautiful. Hello.
Ariana.
Nice.
Guys. Hi.
I kind of like looks at Marcus. Your new friends are dog people, I think.
Never dog people.
That's
Wolf
one
people.
way of putting it.
I say never dog person, wolf person though.
Sniffs the air. You have found strays again.
Old strays. Second time finding us.
No, the two young ones in the other room.
Oh yeah, there's other people in the house.
And there is. And she wrinkles her nose and just makes like a kind of uncomfortable in the back of her throat. Marcus, and he just kind of nods. They're fine. Don't worry. Look, Vlad has already been here. This is not about the vampires, Marcus. I just wanted to visit. And he looks slightly uncomfortable. He's like, that is not why. I would have words with your other guest when he's stopped listening to his messages. I didn't want to disturb him in the garden, but who are your new friends? Why are they here? You seem to constantly surround yourself by beautiful. Looks around, takes in Dice, Oriana, and Ace. People.
I look at her and go, yes, it seems he does.
Yeah.
Oh, I would be here a lot more if Marcus allowed me, you'd be sure. However,
Marcus, why don't you let her in more often?
because
She seems delightful.
his heart does not belong to me.
No, it doesn't now, does it? Okay.
I go, does your heart belong to someone?
Unfortunately, him.
Does your body belong to someone?
Well, my heart belongs to Marcus right now, because he's here. But it would be unfortunate if a woman like me was tied down to one person or place.
I quite agree.
Yeah.
But anyway, who are you? You smell of grass in the forest and clean water and freedom.
And probably also weird city smells and grease in my case.
No, that is new smell. The smell that makes you is. She sniffs in Dice's direction. Copper wire, steel, alchemical substances, acid used for etching, tools, grease.
Grease.
But good grease, clean grease, useful grease.
I'd hope so. What does Ori smell like?
Yeah, do me. Do me. Do me.
She kind of nods towards Ori.
Illegal substances,
Questionable herbs.
interesting trees, sex.
Campfires, wood smoke, sulfur,
Mm-hmm.
but also cooking fires, spicy soup, forests.
Also illegal substances? I just assumed it was a gimme.
Those are the new smells, not the smells that make you you.
Over time they become better, don't worry, that will change.
That's nice.
What does egg smell like?
I'm guessing A smells of
Oh,
furnace.
coal, metal, like
Fresh.
the fiery smell.
Ace is uncomfortable with the prospect of being sniffed.
A hearth.
They forge iron, coal, smelting, steel, steam. But also, there is a smell of light about you.
Dandelions.
Yes,
Ace just goes, pink.
smell of summer flowers.
Dice properly goes.
Ace is our sweet summer child.
What does our other friend smell of, if you don't mind me asking?
Darkness.
No.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, you can just leave it at that.
Shadows.
Yeah.
The grave.
Ugh.
Grave?
No, the grave.
Grave?
Yeah, it smells like a lot of sweaty people on early LSD.
No, that's Brianna again. Wrong person.
I have a request, Marcus. Oh, so you did come here for something then? Yes, of course. It would appear the elves are making a move into our country as well as the one far north to us.
Moldova.
They are making an offensive and it smells terrible.
Yeah, elves seem to carry a stench.
It is not the elves, it is what they are using. It is rife along their front lines. It is dead flesh. It is decay. It is something.
Dead
The
humans.
walking humans.
Nothing we have seen so far, but
We
the
have-
smell is unmistakable.
We've seen them.
We've seen them. We've fought them.
Luckily, once you've killed them a second time, they stay dead.
Also, sometimes they dissolve.
Thank you, that is good to know. I need help, Marcus. I've got people looking into what they're doing. I'll just have to see. Also, the man you left in our care, he is a handful sometimes, especially when he loses his temper. But he wishes to speak to you and to know what you would have him do for the war effort.
Who?
A young friend, brilliant man. He's looking into something for me, but I will visit soon.
Another one of your hidden gods, Marcus?
No. But I haven't met a god that would be a match for this one. Sometimes.
There might be one outside.
So long as the fight took place on a Wednesday.
Yeah, otherwise hopeless. Tuesday's really bad for fighting.
But it was very pleasant to meet you all.
It's been a delight to meet you.
Oh, I apologize. I am Lupa.
Hi, Lupa.
It's lovely to meet you.
You are very beautiful in both wolf form and human. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. Though perhaps I should stay in this form as I walk away, as it is potentially a more pleasurable view for the rest of you. And she gets up, she kisses Marcus on the cheek, drops the cloak, turns, and
Ace
walks
turns.
slowly to the front door.
Ace like averts their view. It's like,
Dice turns for her and goes,
that's their gaze rather.
Ariane is just clocked on, and the second she's out of sight, just swings back to Marcus, like, why is she not tied to your bed?
Well, first things first, if she changed, the ropes would break.
That's cheating.
Also, she's a handful too large for mine.
I fail to understand the problem.
Yeah,
I got nothing.
And as she said, my heart is promised elsewhere.
I'd love to know more about that because I'm just into people's love lives, but damn!
It's a shame she didn't decide to stick around. So, while we're talking, by the way, I'm going to drag some copper wire out of my belt pouch and start making little teddy bears out of copper wire. I want to make 2 small teddy bears about yay big.
Okay.
I know you're going to make me roll for it later, but that's what I'm doing while we're talking now.
Okay.
So who is your heart belonging to?
Yeah, that's the priority right now, Ori.
You wouldn't know them.
I just want to discuss something other than war for 5 minutes.
There's a knock at the door.
Oh, for...
You are a popular man.
You look at the door. The door's open. Someone knocking, like leaning there against the pillar at the door. And as your eyes adjust to the light coming through it, and she's no longer just a shadowy silhouette, you see a lithe, attractive, leather-clad, with long, dark red hair elf, who is very familiar to you.
You bitch!
She's covered in daggers. They are everywhere.
You gave us the slip in, no, Harry.
Your hat has been incredibly useful.
We do like your hat.
You have come the closest to marking me than anyone has in a long time.
One
I
day.
thought the hat would be sufficient payment.
I mean, I'd still love to mark you someday.
You have 2 for delivery. Marcus kind of like looking between you. I was not aware you'd met.
Well, we didn't, really.
It was to do with the whole Inquisitor Overseer fiasco.
So is that in Port Charlotte, Harry?
So you're no
It was
longer.
Portland.
So you're no longer with the Inquisitor then.
Oh,
And the woman just kind of shakes her head.
Oh my god, how did you put up with that man?
They blew my cover.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry, we didn't know, in fairness.
You were sneaking around and being dodgy.
It's my job.
Well, we didn't know that.
We had a job.
You're not supposed to. That's the point.
Well, yeah, but you kind of made yourself obvious to us, and then we had to investigate.
Most
You
people
slipped up.
Most people don't tend to pay as much attention to what I'm doing as to what I'm wearing.
I mean, I'll be honest, both work quite well for me, but
I was working on something you were going to ruin that plan. In fact, you did almost ruin that plan.
Also, chasing you onto the roof and climbing straight up the walls to try and find you and finding you gone was one of the most frustrating experiences of my life.
Either way, it all worked out in the end.
So
Hey,
you chased me and got frustrated that you couldn't catch me at the end. Get in line, darling, get in line.
Keep on closer.
I will fetch them for you, Tash. Bear with me. And he walks off towards the bedroom.
but again, how did you put up with the Inquisitor?
He's not the worst I've had to deal with.
He's the
I'm
worst I
sure
have.
he won't be the last.
He's a dickhead.
He's vile.
He is. But again, not the worst of his kind.
Oh, goody.
In which
Something to
case,
look forward to.
I'm sorry.
It's alright. I'm quite good at my job. Easy
Sometimes.
to turn off.
Yes, that does sound fun. I think I would rather.
I suppose they don't sit on you when you're an old human man.
I've been an old human man. That has its uses.
You should try a tiefling sometime.
But let me see if I've got this right. We're missing Hugin,
Nico.
I believe. You would be Oriana, otherwise known as Lady Devora, or
Oh, so
Mugen.
many others.
Divania.
Lady Devania, sorry. You would be Ace,
Yes.
and you're Dice de Marilones.
Very good. And what was your name?
Tasha.
A pleasure to meet you. You're an interesting woman.
It's comforting to know you're not siding with the elves.
To be fair, we would not have fought you had we known, you know.
But why did you tell him what my plan was?
Why drop us in it?
Because I needed you out of the way.
We would have been out the way anyway, and
We were due to leave the next morning. I just wanted to help, but get myself out of a forced engagement and help a woman stuck in a loveless marriage.
Of course. And I helped. He wasn't going to marry you after I told him.
no,
I
but
already had that covered.
Perhaps. You don't know what his tastes are like. So.
Somebody else to hunt me.
Again, they're just joining the queue, darling. He's not the worst enemy you've made.
No, but I would like it if the queue didn't get any longer.
Well, hopefully when you leave here, you'll be much further away from your pursuers.
Maybe. You're taking the girls to the village, yes?
I am. When Marcus tells me where it is, it tends to move.
It moved.
Good.
I heard. Well done, by the way.
what for?
Because no one's fucked up in that capacity for a while.
It's really easy to mess up when you don't know what you're doing.
Absolutely. Which should be a lesson to you from now on, to always know what you're doing before you do it.
I think it's more a lesson for the people who run Nidum to ensure that people know to not make those mistakes.
Also, you can't know how to do everything all the time. For instance,
Speak for
you
yourself.
don't know when to keep your nose out of other people's business.
But my job is to not ever keep my nose out of other people's business.
The job I'm sure you're good at, but
And your job is making you do something you don't know how to do.
We're all still alive, everyone's happy.
That's true, and quite luckily you're cute, so...
If this is what I look like.
Well, you're cute like this.
you were less cute as the old man, I gotta say. Not really my style.
No.
As she's about to say something, Marcus comes back with the girls. You stayed under your bed, Sepsis?
You're muted.
Hi, Greg.
Yes, I did.
You didn't react to Marcus coming in the room?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Oh, that's it. Did I manage to finish the bears I was making? Because I wanted to give them to the girls.
Yeah. You got the bears.
They weren't complicated. They're just little wire-wrapped bears.
Okay. And as the girls pass the table, you hand them to them, I'm assuming.
I go, take these with you and show the people who will look after you and keep them. Perhaps as a good luck charm of sorts. They're small enough that they could go on a necklace or something.
The one with the platinum blonde hair takes it and hugs it to her. The strawberry blonde looks at the bear and then hugs you.
I go, oh, hello, oh, okay.
And then Marcus takes them to the door. It was a pleasure finally meeting you all properly. I do hope
And
you
you.
can work together in the future instead of across purposes.
That'd be nice.
Au revoir for now. And she walks out.
As she goes, I yell, look after my parents.
That should be it. I haven't got any more pressing business today. Did you have any further questions?
I wanted to ask some more about your experiences with the drow.
Okay. While this is going on, Sepsis has definitely had a short rest. Is there anything you want to do?
No, not really.
Okay.
I feel like Sepsis is going to come running out like blades. Rampage on it.
Okay then. Sepsis is still in the room. My experiences with the drow. What of them?
We are considering a passage through the Underdark. We are told the drow are notoriously not kind, difficult to get along with. However, our experience with the drow so far, to be fair, we've only met one. But they were very forthcoming and actually helpful. And I wondered if perhaps...
You've met a drow?
We did. We met them in the mines at...
Soldier? Royal?
Dryder. It was a Dryder, not a drow.
It was the Dryder. My apologies.
You met a Dryder?
A Dryder of the house... We've got it written down and you know we do.
Okay.
I can't open my notebook because it's part of my janky
So it's fine.
It's fine.
Set up.
tripod setup.
It's
No,
okay.
everything will go.
It's okay. That could do you well if you did enter the Underdark, but it's getting to a drow city and arranging passage that might be the issue. As Vlad said, the drow are not...
Charlie, what?
Pretty sure that Dryder's dead.
No, the Dryder escaped. Well, we think they may have escaped.
It's a bit 50-50.
It is. But they must have been working with the knowledge of their house.
Maybe.
As Vlad said, the drow are not the main issue in the Underdark. There
No,
are strange and terrible creatures that live under the crust of this earth in the honeycomb world. It's terrifying.
Still, perhaps it is better than trying to get passage on a boat that we can't afford.
There are ways to earn money on your way to the coast.
Not fast ones, and if we are to get to Roma, for example, it sounds like you need us to be moving towards the continent faster. We are told there's a route to the Underdark in Londinium? Not no? I can't remember what we called London.
Londinium. No, it's not Red Dwarf.
I'm never sure where you draw influences from.
Yeah, alright. Yeah, could be.
So, Londinium, we were told there is a route to the Underdark there that would be quicker than getting to the cliffs, and we could get towards Roma and Moldova faster. To help both the werewolves and the vampires, if that is indeed where we are supposed to be going, and you need us to do that. But I can't imagine we're going to
Free
get.
to help either of them, but we're talking about taking on elven armies here.
Yeah,
did
it's
not
gonna
say
be a lot.
I mean,
I thought
It's
you.
gonna take
Heavy
more than
artillery for that.
The first thing you need to do is remember you have a blood curse on you.
Remember?
You need to break that.
How?
There is a woman in Gaul. Her daughter has a natural affinity for blood magic. And I am not a friend of the family. I had a falling out with her father a long time ago. And with her husband, sorry, the father of the girl a long time ago, and they do not like me. However, you are not I.
Where in Gaul? Gaul is a large place that is simply a country, not more specific coordinates.
Find directions for the land of Xyleb.
Zyleb.
Xyleb.
Zyleb. All right.
It's in southeastern Gaul.
The land of Zyleb, not even the town of Zyleb?
It's a small duchy.
Oh, well, that's better.
She will probably be in the mountains there. She should be able to help you, or at least...
What's her name? What's her name?
The mother.
The girl.
The
Or
girl.
mother's name as well.
The girl, I have no idea. The mother is Pomona.
Pomona,
Pomona.
as in sprout, yeah?
Pomona.
Yeah, Pomona. All right. I assume you'd like us to get out of your house as quickly as possible, so as not to...
Well, anytime you wish to leave, walk into the mists, it cannot take you much further than where you were picked up from. That is the rule of this plane. However, if you will it, or will your destination to be a few miles further east of Cardid, have you travelled around the lands of Cardid? Did you go any further east than the city?
No. Yes.
To deliver the bodies, you went into a clearing a few miles east of Cardid.
Okay. We know of a clearing within the woods we could...
Picture the location, and as long as it is within a few miles of where I picked you up from, then you should go there.
Would you pass a message to Mother and Clint, etc., for us?
Of course.
Just to say thank you.
Of course. Don't worry, Clint is up and coming, though he doesn't really know what he's fighting for yet.
I assume he survived.
Of course he did. You've met him.
He's a good kid.
But he is still a kid.
So are
We're
you.
not that far off ourselves.
No, don't be silly, Oriana. You're 24.
Bitch, stop pointing that out. I'm 18. I just look 24.
So unless you have no more questions, you can leave when you may.
I stand up and go, Sepsis!
I go to the room to get sepsis.
My way was quicker.
Okay. Oriana enters the room.
Sepsis still under the bed.
Yes.
I kneel down and look under the bed. Like we're getting ready to leave.
I'm ready.
Okay. We're aiming to come out in the clearing in the woods that we were in when we did the whole body parts swap thing.
Fine.
you coming?
Yes. You're in the way.
Oh! Okay. And I stand up and get out of the way.
I come out from under the bed.
Are you okay, Sepsis?
Yes, why?
You're normally a little bit more talkative than this.
I have nothing to say to the master of the house.
No, that's fair. Alright, come on. We can get back to you telling us off for making poor decisions.
I mean, there's a second option.
What, stay here?
Make better decisions.
Where's the fun in that?
We yet to survive?
We've survived so far.
Skin of our teeth.
I'm sure if anything happens, you'll be okay.
Without the three of you, I doubt it.
I think we'll be okay, and if not, you'll find somebody else to look after you.
I
You
don't
found
think
us.
I was thrust upon you.
It's not the first time. Come on.
I do.
Okay. So you walk back out into the kitchen area?
Yep. Are we ready, kids?
As you do that, the old man from the garden walks back in. He walks straight up to Ace.
They sort of holds themselves very like straight.
He has a glass jaw.
Noted.
Remember those words well.
I will.
Pleased to meet you. Slaps you on the back and sends you kind of sailing over the table, and just walks off.
Okay.
That's alarming.
It's like inwardly, like fanboying over being touched.
Senpai has noticed me.
Glass door? Alright, time to go, everyone?
Yep.
Gotta keep moving, right?
Yeah.
No time like the present.
Be careful, Marcus.
I have willfully ignored that same advice 1,000 times this century and will continue to do so. But
Okay,
thank
well,
you.
How about try making good decisions?
I don't know what those are.
Yeah, neither do
Sepsis
I.
laughs.
I go over and I hug Marcus and go,
Frozen.
happy to
Oh.
forgive you for any problem. I think we're okay now. I go, some of us are happy to forgive you for previous transgressions, perhaps.
Unfortunately, for the majority of my transgressions, it is not in your power to forgive.
No,
No, but you
but for
know,
mine.
a couple less.
A couple?
Sepsis,
Sorry?
before you go, is there anything you would ask of me?
Stay alive and look forward to meeting me again.
I do.
Why did that sound ominous?
Because it was.
And you leave?
I don't
Yeah.
say anything about what I sort of incited earlier.
Okay.
Let's go.
Walk straight into the mist. Remember where you wish to go.
Be clear.
Clearing in the woods.
Good luck.
Thank you. Good luck. Yourself. And have sex with the werewolf lady. She's hot. And then I walk out.
Yeah, I mean, throw her a bone. Walk out.
Not again. And as you walk into the mist, you just hear him says, "Once was enough."
Only
Yeah,
one.
as-
I think
as
you can
the-
split that.
Ace just sort of is hurrying themselves out of the door and then it's like, by all father.
Sepsis?
Bye.
I leave.
Okay, cool. So there's a blinding flash of white light again,
Blinded by the light.
and you find yourselves in a very familiar forest clearing. The grass is trodden down by the passage of horses. You can see the familiar carriage tracks from where you followed the laden carriages full of dead bodies that you were protecting previously. Roll a perception check. Highest notices first.
Okay.
Highest what first?
Perception check.
Notice this first.
21.
Alright.
Sepsis? No.
14.
Just roll a perception check for me.
Actually, 22.
I got an 18. I couldn't possibly have outrolled Millie. I have a -1.
Yeah, okay. Ace?
I noticed last.
8.
Oh wait, no, I didn't notice last.
Ace.
I was too overcome
Okay.
by seeing our
Um,
I have Cedric with me this time, by the way.
Yeah. Dice?
Yeah.
You turn, and at first you think it is the trick of the light still kind of creating that aurora effect when you close your eyes and you try and blink it away, but you realise that it's not going. And when you turn back, sprouting from Oriana's shoulder blades with at least 6 foot wingspan on either side are 2 large, deep purple wings.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Ori, what the fuck? You have wings. Ori, wings. Wings. Ori, big fuck off wings. What the fuck?
What the fuck are you... Oh my god! Okay. That's new.
Where does those come from?
My back.
Can you move them? Flap.
Can I?
As you start to flap, your feet lift off the ground.
Oh no, I don't like that.
Oriana, did you sneeze?
No! Can I have a cast spell last night?
Can I make an Arcana check on like what I know of wild magic, knowing Ori?
Oriana basically looks. This is not massively dissimilar, actually. Oriana looks vaguely like this.
Yeah.
Oh, from Gargoyle. Right, okay.
Nice wings.
I've
Got
got
it.
human feet.
One of my favourite shows.
But with human feet.
Child.
Is that from Gargoyles?
It absolutely
Yeah.
was.
They're doing
I've been
So-
talking about Gargoyles for a while.
Fucking love that show, man.
They're doing a reboot.
It's on Disney Plus. I'm so happy.
Original?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
haven't shown the kids yet. Okay, sorry. Yes, and you land back gracefully.
I don't know why this has happened.
I have a question for you, Ori. Do those wings look like the ones you had when you were sat on the throne as the Queen of Hell?
That is a good question.
I mean, I don't think I was the Queen of Hell, but yes.
That
Yeah.
had some serious questions for me. Did you feel anything when they grew? Like tingling? Did it hurt?
No,
Couple
they're
more,
just there.
couple more levels. She's going to start having this flame that appears between her horns constantly. She's going to get a big sword running. I'm not doing Hellboy. I'm not actually.
Ominous.
Before anyone says, I'm not actually
Ominous
doing
music wherever
Hellboy.
she goes.
She's not the bringer of the end of the universe. She's
Oh, she might be.
No, I didn't. This is weird.
little.
Kind of got.
It's a little season 9 flavour that I quite like. Season 9 Adventures League flavour that I quite like, called Plain Touched Wings, and basically means Asimara tieflings get a flying speed. That's it.
I have new. How am I supposed to lie on my back now?
However, you hadn't been plain touched up until this point, so I couldn't give them to you
Yeah.
earlier. As you say how I'm about to lie on my back now, almost intuitively you flex, and the wings kind of fold over your shoulders like a cloak, and kind of the two little kind of hooks at the apex of the wings just kind of hook over each other like a clasp across your chest.
That's weird. I could do a hell of a striptease though.
Is there any history of this happening to tieflings?
I don't know, can I roll for it to see if I would know that?
You'd know that inherently if you'd researched a little bit about your own race. There were different variations of tieflings. There were winged tieflings.
I mean, yeah, you could find winged ones, but as far as I'm aware, they always had their wings.
I was going to say, weren't they born that way? Not suddenly.
Yeah. Unless it's a puberty thing, I don't know.
I spat on my screen.
Right, you've made me angry by bringing up Hellboy because it reminded me of the 2019
Yeah.
Hellboy film that I made the mistake of watching.
Yeah, I made that mistake
Do you
too.
know?
I didn't, but I still go.
It has a 17% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think that's too high.
Anyway, so
There was nothing wrong with the first one.
you are currently
Wings.
10 miles away from Cardiff
Hmm.
on the eastern side.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
We start walking.
Start walking, I guess.
Where are we going to?
I'm going to...
The south, right?
Well, east and south, yeah.
Yeah.
In a southeasterly direction towards Londinium or towards the cliffs? Where are we going here, guys? I don't know how to react to the wings, Ori. I'm kind of ignoring it right
No,
now.
it's fine. I'm sort of processing it slowly.
Okay.
I think to the cliffs. It seems like the fastest way.
Boss! Boss! Boss!
Yes, Worm. What?
Oh, you've been gone for like a day.
Uh-huh.
I thought it would annoy you by just repeating your name every 5 seconds. Every second, I think.
My name is not Boss.
Oh, Master?
Yep, that's the one.
Cool.
What do you have to report?
Well, a lot of the carts went south. The cart with, parts went further east.
Further east to where, Worm?
I lost them in the woods.
Well, that's fairly embarrassing for you.
But it was the woods outside, a really big city.
Really big city. How far east are we talking here?
Just over the giant river.
A really big city just over the giant river.
Do you say that?
Excellent. No, I don't. But I do say. Can anyone get a message to our former hosts?
Not easily. No.
Hmm.
Why? Where? What? Why? Why?
They were interested in where the carts ended up. Worm has followed some of them.
Where did they end up?
Can't Worm take a message?
Yes, but I'd feel better if Worm was back with us.
Do you want me to come back, boss?
Yes.
Alright,
Wait,
on my
Where,
way.
where did the bodies end up? I'm curious.
Hey,
The
boss.
cart.
He's on your
Yes,
shoulder.
I see you. Yes, I know you're here. The cart with the.
Is he visible?
Yes.
I just start pointing to my wings, go, we match.
The cart with the body went to a large city east of here.
She
over
looks
a big
nice.
river. Oh Jesus Christ!
Boss. Boss. Boss.
Just slutter them a little bit.
I
Oh.
swear to God, I will unsummon you.
Oh, alright, sorry. Tell her to stop then.
Alright, the
Ariana.
wings are apparently a thing.
Ariana, stop flirting with my pet.
I
I am very uncomfortable with the energy we have created in the studio today.
You know when birds get that like massive thing with their wings?
No, all I saw then was the most recent How to Train Your Dragon one. Okay, yes. All right, sorry, boss. I'll stop.
Well, go and find the people that we were
You want
staying
yellow?
with in Kaidid and tell them where the carts went.
Wait,
All right.
a large city over a what?
A river, guys. A river.
Okay. Can I roll a history check against that?
We don't know anything about the world, do we?
Yeah, have a look at. She made a copy of a map.
I made a copy.
Right. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought the map was only of. I thought the map was only of around here.
No, you've got a map. Yeah, have a look at the map.
Charlie's dead. I look at the map. Where is it?
Look, by your reckoning, maybe about a day's travel east. There is a huge river. It looks like there is one long, expansive bridge over it.
All right. And what's the city the other side?
It's not named. It's a large town on yours, but you do remember that the map you saw was old. It was changing, but it was old.
I go.
Really old.
Sepsis, you might want to get your imp to look at this and get so they can perhaps copy it for the people they're going to.
He's far too spectacularly stupid to do that.
Do you like me to copy it quickly onto a sheet of paper so that he can take it and deliver it if you were going to send him to send the message?
Yes, that sounds like it would be much more reliable.
All right, I copy the map across to a blank sheet of paper just with like Cadiz and then the big river and then the town.
Okay.
Like a section of the map.
All right. I'll be back soon. And he flies off, goes invisible.
You know, Sepsis, I get the impression that your imp friend may not be very bright, but he sure is cute.
He's neither of those things.
You're right, he's not bright, but he is cute. Yeah, I think you might be wrong on that one.
Nope.
Charlie, you were right, by the way. You were giggling so hard, I thought you might fall off your chair.
It reminded me of that stupid video of the bird making nests. It's like, you want some yellow? You want some yellow? You want some blue? You
I
want
got
some
blue.
fuck? You want some fuck? I got blue. You want some fuck? Stupid bird dancing around doing it in there.
So, what do you do?
I think we probably start heading. I guess we can't go south without first going east.
You can go south. According to the map currently in Dice's hands, directly south of here, maybe a mile or so, is going to be water.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, like, if we're aiming to get to these cliffs, I think we have to go east before we go south, right?
Mm-hmm.
The water's
Yeah,
probably the giant bridge, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we start heading east.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have questions. This bridge could well be guarded by a lot of elves when we get there. Looking at it as a point of contact between the lands, it's going to be heavily policed.
We've managed to make it through most heavily policed areas we've come across so far. I'm sure we'll come up with something.
So far, so good. Charlie, not working.
That's not done. No one can see that.
Okay. So, east of the bridge?
That's where we're heading.
Yep.
Okay. And as you move off, you notice that it is strangely about 8 hours later. The sun is going down. But you don't feel as if it's taken any energy out of you. You don't feel as if you need to rest. Do you want to make camp for the night or carry on?
I'm
I
happy
think
to
we
be
should.
travelling
Making
for some
camp
of the
would
night.
probably be a good idea.
I think making camp would be, even if we don't feel tired, we're just going to be tired by morning then.
Don't you think
I think
it'd be better to travel at night?
maybe we should travel at least a few hours away from the city before we make camp.
Yeah.
We know
Okay.
that these woods
Well-
at least are used by the elves as a meeting place.
If
More
we keep
importantly, that's
if we keep going until it gets too dark to travel.
I prefer to be out of this particular wood as well. It
Well, walk
eats
fast.
things.
We have light, Ori, but there are a lot of owlbears in here, as we've already seen, and the vegetation, not
The
normal.
night is dark and full of owlbears.
Yeah, fuck yeah, it is.
Well, let's keep going then.
Do you make your way by paths easily travelled or through the wilderness?
I think we
Please go
probably
past the
best
travel.
following paths. Yeah.
Yeah, well, as long as they're heading in the direction we want to go, we might have to roughly.
It's alright. It's just determining which table I roll for when next week's
Yeah.
session begins. However, I think that is a fine time to. I think that is a fine time to finish it there. It's not just Charlie that gets wings. Everyone levels
We all
up.
get wings.
Everyone
We
levels
all
up.
get wings. Yay!
Okay, so you are all now level 7.
Woo!
Yay!
And roll for hit points.
I will do, but I've got to. This is really slow. You're going way too fast for this iPad.
Sorry. And remember, everyone reroll ones, because we all hate ones. Ones can fuck off and die.
So I'm rolling a D8.
It depends what you're rolling for, remember?
Bard.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna use my sparky one.
I'm not wearing my t-shirt, I can't immediately look down and reference which dice it is.
Washed it. It's at the top of the laundry basket.
Damn it.
I actually rolled a 1, and then I rolled.
Is it the HP modifier I'm putting it on, yeah?
No.
The rolled
It's
HP.
the rolled HP.
I
Rolled
rolled
HP, just adding to that
Add
then.
to your rolled
Mhm.
HP. Yeah.
Okay. I add 2, because I got a 2.
Yeah.
two.
Oh.
That
I
was
ask
the
this
shittiest
every
roll.
time we do it. There we go. Wahoo!
So you're now a level 3 bard, Charlie, yeah?
Yeah, I need to pick a college.
You do. That's always fun.
I am
I think
now
I'm,
a third level sorcerer.
Oh, you've gone up in sorcerer again. You've started.
I've gone up in sorcerer. This is probably the last level I'll take sorcerer.
Okay.
Um,
Dice, how many hit points you get?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
How many hit points did you get?
I rolled a 2.
So did
I also rolled
Ace.
two.
I rolled up to 49 from 45. It was really depressing. I don't want
I
to.
went from 56 to 60.
Oh, shut up.
It was
Well,
nice.
That's not very pleasant.
What, that I have 60 hit points?
No, no, Millie telling you to shut up wasn't. very
Alright.
It was
pleasant.
with a great deal of love and affection. Come on now.
Oh, fair enough.
What else?
I'd never tell anyone to shut up. Seriously, that's not who I am.
I get an
know,
aura of
joking.
warding.
You do get an aura of warding. Ancient magic lies so heavily upon you that it forms an eldritch ward. You and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you have resistance to damage from spells.
Oh, nice.
Also means that if Charlie's wild magic ever actually causes a fireball to go off centered around her, you all get resistance to fire.
Yay.
I got Flash of Genius. So I have the ability to come up with solutions under pressure. When I or another creature I can see within 30 feet makes an ability check or saving throw, I can add my reaction. I can use my reaction, to add my intelligence modifier to the roll, which is +8, +7. No, it's not. That was the saving throw. It's +4, but still, it's good.
It is.
You just get meta magic, Greg.
Yeah, I picked up quicken spell and subtle spell.
Clutch.
You know, if I was making a proper sorcerer, I probably would pick up quicken spell and twin spell, but because I'm making a sepsis,
Yeah.
I think a subtle spell feels
Yeah.
more.
Oh yeah, but definitely quickened.
character.
Quickened is just
I,
such a clutch thing to get.
You can't ever not take quicken.
I took College of Glamour.
Of course you did.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
that's
now have
College.
+10 to performance and persuasion.
Epic. I like college grammar.
I didn't get new spells this time.
And Mantle of Inspiration. As a bonus action, you can use one of your bardic inspirations to grant yourself a wondrous appearance. When you do so, choose a number of creatures you can see, and they can see you within 60 feet of you up to a number equal to your charisma modifier. Each one of them gains 5 temporary hit points. When a creature gains these hit points, it can immediately use its reaction to move up to its speed without provoking opportunity attacks. You've basically just taken something that gives everyone 5 bonus hit points and the mobility feat for 1 turn.
Nope.
I'd love the mobility feat in real life. That would be great.
Rich, I've got a question.
Yeah.
It says that whenever someone makes a saving throw or a check, I can add my intelligence modifier. So if it was a saving throw, I could add my intelligence modifier. So would that be my standard intelligence modifier or my intelligence saving throw modifier?
Your intelligence modifier.
But if it was a saving throw,
No, it would say saving throw. It would say your intelligence saving throw, because your intelligence saving throw, that plus next to it, that's not a modifier. That is your saving throw bonus.
Your saving throw is made up of your intelligence modifier and your proficiency bonus if you're proficient in it.
So when it says
if it's something
intelligence modifier, it's just the plus above intelligence.
Shall we discuss this after the stream?
Yeah.
no, it says +4 to the roll.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I also have
Technicalities.
enthralling performance now.
But
I
that's
can, I can charm up to 4 people in 1 hour by dancing.
nice.
I know you've got the wings to do as well.
Yeah,
Oh my god, that's going to be Orange's new way of...
allow me to seduce you.
So yes, session 25 over and done with. Thank you all very much.
You make that sound like you don't like us.
I love you guys, you know that. Thank you very much, those who have watched, those who will watch. Big news coming soon. More info on that on our social media, and I'll do a post. I'll do a bit next week. However, yeah, please join us next week. Tell your friends, bring them along. Remind everyone you know who's got an Amazon Prime subscription. If they don't watch Twitch, they don't need it. Just give it to us. Give it to your favorite Twitch. Give it to a friend who streams. Yes. Sorry for the lack of combat and actual skill checks and stuff like that. I'm not apologizing to you guys. I'm apologizing to viewers. I just.
No, this was more lore and roleplay based, and it was amazing.
I needed a bit of exposition. You've had 25 sessions where you've learned little bits and stuff. I thought it was highly. Yeah, I thought it was high time you all got a bit of proper exposition so you can clarify certain ideas in your head if you've had any and things like that. But yeah, so please join us next time for maybe a bit more lore, but certainly a lot more potentially perilous travel. But yeah, thank you all. Good night. Sorry, yeah.
I was just going to say, I like the balance of really heavily roleplay sessions, because that was something we didn't have as much in our last campaign, and
Yeah.
I like it.
Definitely true. Yeah, because that was the thing of the pace of the book, or the pace of the cult story sort of demanded that we keep moving and keep fighting things. So yeah, it's nice to have a few sessions. It's nice to have more sessions.
Oh yeah, Tyranny of Dragons from start to finish is in game supposed to take you about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a timed encounter.
Yeah,
Actually.
it took you guys a year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We did some
It took
stuff.
us a year to play, but
Yeah, no, it
that
took you
was the same
in
for
character.
every day.
In
Like,
character.
almost every week.
Married. 2 of us got married. There was betrayal. There were children.
One of us got
Cake and Tarbor had an anniversary. Cake and Tarbor had an anniversary of meeting each other.
But it took a year because you added a load of
Oh,
extra
yeah.
content.
Anyway, no one's gonna know what we're talking about.
No, it's fine.
Well,
But
some people know what Tyranny of Dragons.
everyone needs the Tyranny of Dragons. They've said themselves, add in as much homebrew as you want because the beginning is broken. But yes, so thank you all for watching. Please follow your local health guidelines and stay safe. And keep
alert.
don't stay alert. Just stay safe.
And also, don't come to Wales because
Yeah, don't come to Wales just because
'Cause
it's
we're all
useful.
standing at the border and
beaches
we'll
are
turn you the
closed.
fuck around.
we've got fucking dragons.
Yeah.
We'll set them on you.
Right. So bye guys. See you next week. Take care. Stay safe. Good night.
Bye.
Boop, boop.